Hey, a DUI covers more than just alcohol. Drugs that make you feel different will make you drive different, and you could get a DUI. Always remember, if you feel different, you drive different. Never drive high. Like they say, drive high, get a DUI. The date, December 17th, 2019. The time, 11-ish. Pacific Standard Time. The show, The Giant Bombcast.
The host?
Hi, I'm Jeff Gerstmann, hosting the show this week.
You're not Brad.
I'm not Brad because he is out on vacation.
Yay. It's like being out on an assignment, but fun.
Yeah, it's like a fun assignment where you get to... I think you don't put on shoes.
You don't put on no shoes, no shirt,
shoes.
and you don't have to service anyone that you don't want to.
That's right.
You think Brad's on the beach right now sipping on like drinks and coconuts?
No, Brad is going to go see Star Wars tomorrow, so he's very much in the area still.
All right. He could be doing that at home.
It could be seeing Star Wars at home. I know there's some shit is leaked, but I don't think the whole movie has yet. But
Noted leaker, Brad Shoemaker.
that's right. He is dripping,
Drip, drip.
and Andy's dripping.
Yeah.
And he's dripping.
Ooh.
Could have just taken a shower.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Anyway, we're here. Jason A. Stryker's here with me. Hello.
Hey, hello.
How you doing?
Doing rather well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm doing okay. How about you?
I
I like that. Okay, good. Good.
That's my non-committal answer.
The higher the pitch, the better you know you're doing.
Yeah. How are you doing? How are you doing, Matt Pack?
I'm doing great.
Whoa, holy shit.
Are you okay?
What
I
the
am living it up.
Wow.
Do we need to talk afterwards?
I had
No, this is my sincerity voice. This is why you're only hearing it now.
the first time.
Wow, man. Wow. It's gonna be like that.
Yeah. And Jan, how you doing down there?
Fantastic.
Yeah.
You know what's great?
Jantastic. Come on.
Damn. Okay.
Just lean into this shit.
All right.
If we don't get catchphrases out here, we got.
Banantastic? I mean, look at his shirt.
No, come on now.
Look at his shirt,
that's
though.
too much.
Look at the shirt.
Sometimes
Ben.
he's not wearing the shirt, but he's always Jan.
Yeah.
A good catchphrase can be used at any time.
What if you always wore the shirt?
Okay, if you can commit to always,
I'll
wearing
always
the
wear
shirt.
this shirt.
Great. Okay.
Like when I went to the store, these shirts were like buy one get one 50% off.
Okay.
I should have got another one for 50% off. What if it's just another shirt but with bananas?
That's money on the table. That's bananas.
Always banana shirts.
Yeah, like that's my new thing. Just banana shirts
I
or
feel like
banana
you
apparel.
Yeah, you can broaden
Banana
it.
Republic.
You can have like a
They
little
shut
like
down my closest Banana Republic.
dangly banana chain or something, or just
Oh,
like
instead of a
wallet
wallet
chain?
chain,
Yeah.
it's just bananas.
yeah.
All right,
That
done.
would be
Just like a
bananas.
bunch of bananas hanging off of like a fucking
It works for monkeys.
one of those.
It works for monkeys.
Yeah,
They do the game, barrel full of monkeys.
Yeah, no, barrel full of monkeys. They do the game.
It's like
you're
you
right.
can do bananas like that.
I knew a guy that would go to parties carrying a banana in his pocket, and he'd
What?
use that as a conversation piece.
That's terrible.
And then I asked him, like, "Hey, man, like, why do you do this?"
Yeah.
And he said he saw it on an episode of Doctor Who, and then it made me never want to watch Doctor Who again.
What? Describe to me. Is it like a pickup line
Yeah, it's
or
just like-
It's,
what
an
kind of?
it's an icebreaker.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And
It's
thing
like
was,
wearing a big fuzzy hat.
he was a very like
So like
talkative-
Jamiroquai and Doctor. Is Jamiroquai a Doctor Who?
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
So it's mystery.
That fucking makes way more sense.
Yeah.
Okay.
Still.
Man. Okay, hang on. Back up here. So would the banana be poking out of like a back pocket? Or
No, he'd always wear like a pea coat, and it'd be like the tip of the banana would be poking out of one of the side pockets.
like how many people take the bait on that though? Because like that seems like if I saw that, I'd be like, I feel like he would have to do all
Guy's
the work
just
on
hungry.
that and be like, hey, I got a banana here.
Yeah, I
Like,
just
that
assume
just
he was
seems
how do you
hungry
lead
or
with that?
something.
He'd be like one of those people at a party where like they won't leave a conversation.
Oh yeah.
And like they're overstaying their welcome too often.
Cool.
So you lead him out with the banana.
Exactly. And then you'd be like, all right, I need to get an out
Throw
of
it out
this.
the door.
Oh, there's a banana. What's up with that, buddy? And then he'd go into his whole thing about a banana. It's like, oh, sometimes you need a snack.
and then just
Great.
That was his
crowd
whole
work.
banana thing. Was like sometimes you
I've
need a
seen this
snack.
motherfucker do this 3 times at 3 separate parties that I've thrown.
Like sometimes you need a snack. I brought a banana.
Yeah.
That's it. Like there's
Yeah.
no cool story. There's no
he'd
like,
like-
I found it on the street. There was a building
gonna
on
do
like a
fire.
cool way of
These are
opening it or
street
something.
bananas.
You're gonna do that in a big hoagie, just sticking out of your pocket, one of those Safeway like
totally.
3-footers.
Like if you want food as a conversation piece, I feel like you can do so much better
Yeah.
than a
100%.
banana poking out of a pocket.
Yeah. Maybe hold a cake or something.
Yeah.
be the cake guy. Everyone loves cake guy.
Yeah,
at the
if
party.
you showed up at a party with a
No,
cake,
I'm that cake guy.
no?
just like
No,
this,
not cool.
just
was he carrying it like that?
was he carrying it like a pizza
like a
pie?
pizza?
Oh no, it was
Like a
like
pizza
full out
pie.
front, like he was gonna drop it or something.
Oh, like a sheet cake or something. I think
Yeah,
honestly,
like a
in my
sheet
mind, this is like a round
Like a
cake.
birthday cake.
Yeah, you're walking
Okay.
into a place with like a round cake, just like
You're maybe, like,
hey,
doing this
Yeah,
when you walk
you're-
in.
it's kind of up and down.
yeah.
You're kind of
Guy.
raising the roof with a cake.
And then when
Okay.
you come into the party, everyone's like, "Oh shit, we got a cake now."
Yeah, and then you don't give any of it to anyone.
Yeah.
You
Start
fucking
eating it.
you pull out a fork and you go fuck you and eat the whole cake in front of them. And that's why I don't go to a lot of parties anymore.
Good, but that's why you have a lot
They
of
don't let
cakes
you.
now.
Yeah. What if you just taped the banana to the front of yourself? I feel like that'd be a very now thing to do.
Yeah, it's
and then see if anyone comes and peels it off you and eats it.
Right.
Oh yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's good.
Maybe that's like a costume party type thing.
Yeah.
You go as that art piece and then see if anyone dares to eat this very sensual.
This is the only time
That
I'm
stuff
gonna-
will still be fresh.
See if anyone dares
Yeah.
to eat
Come
your
October.
banana.
I feel like the only time I would ever support somebody dressing up as an art piece is being the banana taped to him guy.
We found it. That's
Yeah.
the one.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm glad we could. I'm glad we got there. Well, so we're nearing the end of the year, but this is kind of a big news week because the Game Awards happened last week and brought with them a bunch of new announcements / trailers for games.
And awards.
Right, a
couple.
Oh, yeah.
I guess the rewards too. I don't. Yeah, I couldn't tell you a damn thing.
Sekiro.
Okay.
Won.
Yeah.
Kojima won for best direction.
Huh.
Death Stranding won a bunch. Performance. A couple others. Disco Elysium won 4, which was pretty cool.
What else did they win besides? They won.
They won Fresh Indie Game.
Oh, presented by.
Oh, they got
Somewhat
they got the
fresh.
footlong.
They got the
golden footlong.
golden footlong. Which is great because then they immediately went and redistributed it to the audience.
Smart. Yeah. You all get one slice of this meatball sub.
They won Best RPG, Best Narrative, and Best Indie Game. Or what's that? That was the Fresh.
Yeah. I want to say.
I don't know. I tuned in for part of it. I tuned in for like an hour.
Filled out our ballot for that stuff a while ago.
I
It's
watched
kind of a
Green Day
blur.
perform and announced Green Day Beat Saber. Not the actual title,
Dude,
but
what the fuck? Okay, so Green Day.
first of all, they rocked my socks off.
Well, yeah, it's Green Day. Well, Green Day gets a bad rap. Also, fuck Green Day, but also Green Day gets a bad rap. From me
yes.
sometimes.
They're kind of like in that same category as a Red Hot Chili Peppers.
No, that's gross. Stop
Wait,
that.
no, hold
What
on.
about a Blink 182? Huh? Are they close to that?
I respect Blink 182.
I think I still have like a lot of my Green Day stuff had to stay behind in the early 90s.
Okay. Okay.
That's where I left it. It didn't need to come with me. Every once in a while, it'll pop out, and it's like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, I remember that.
Oh yeah,
Dookie.
Dookie.
Yeah.
They have an album, Dookie. Yeah. I got that album from the label that put it out. They sent. I was at a magazine at the time.
The label.
And got a free copy of it, and I was like, "Oh, Green Day! This is the band that played my high school last 2 years ago."
That's crazy.
And I was like, "That's weird." And then that turned out to be like the biggest fucking album of the year. I was like, "Oh, that's even weirder." And then everyone was very mad locally because they had sold the fuck out. So fuck Green Day. Beat Saber. I'm not the hugest fan, but Beat Saber has a very clear aesthetic to it,
Yes.
and I feel like a Green Day music pack is the exact opposite of that aesthetic. But also, if you go back and look at like a lot of the music that has been released for Beat Saber as DLC, it's like a bunch of fucking like Panic at the Disco and Imagine fucking Dragons.
Sure.
Popular
So,
music.
Like
Okay,
garbage,
Green Day.
like total dog shit. And to the point where like Green Day, I look at Green Day and go like, well, at least it's Green Day. It's not the era of Green Day I would want to listen to ever in a million years, but
yeah.
at least it's not Imagine motherfucking Dragons. Are you fucking kidding me? Holy shit!
They're busy with Mortal Kombat.
Yeah.
How many songs are in this pack?
It's like 5 or 6. Let's look it
songs?
up here. Let's look it up
They
here.
charging for it, or what's the deal?
Yeah, they're selling it. You can buy it on a per
What,
song.
are they going to pay me?
What are they going to
download this
pay me to
shit?
download this fucking Green Day? 2,000 light years away, maybe. But no, it's all fucking American Idiot era stuff, which, come on.
I'd like
Maybe the time is now for that
I like
again.
it.
Maybe that album is like more relevant than even
they
it
turned
was
it
when it
into
first
a
came out.
musical, which is
Yeah.
that
What?
part.
Yeah.
Someone that likes musicals too.
I definitely listened to Boulevard of Broken Dreams too many times.
Oh God.
I just that
that
was
song so much.
I did not listen to that album much, let's say. I'm typing Beat Saber into this Steam page now.
I got a concussion while listening to Green Day.
That's all right, cool.
Which came first, really?
Were you at Gilman,
it was
bro?
simultaneous.
Yeah.
No, it was hitting my head in my uncle's cabin because it was too
Same
short.
thing. Oh, wait, Too Short was there? Another East Bay favorite. Wow. Okay, so individual Green Day songs are $1.99 a pop. They have
Okay.
1, 2,
Pop
3,
punk.
4, 5, 6 of them, and there is also a there is a bundle for these, but I'm not readily seeing it here on Steam.
Do they change the colors from blue and red to green and something else?
I believe, yeah. So like they were singing, and behind them there was a big Beat Saber.
I'm looking at screenshots
Screen.
of it along with the individual packs, and the words Green Day are shown on screen in a stylized font. So,
None of them are remixed, right? It's not like an EDM version of American Idiot or
no, as far as I can tell, it is not. It is not that. It's just here's American Idiot.
oh, interesting.
Steam reviews of American Idiot by Green Day for Beat Saber. All reviews mostly negative. 16 reviews.
Really?
What? This first one was is from G. Bush.
And all of the reviews are not a big fan of the bleeping. Or why the censorship? I didn't know the developers are Chinese.
God,
Really took Beat Saber down a peg, dude.
The only country that does censorship.
Yeah, right. No one else, certainly.
Oh, this hurts.
No thanks. I didn't pay for censorship. Yes. So
Actually,
Don't
did.
tread on me.
Okay.
okay. So I'm gonna sit here. Okay, I'm gonna say that all of these Steam reviews are written in the most fucking way possible, but I tend to agree.
Yeah.
Music should be uncensored. You should offer 2 versions, like Luke and the 2 Live Crew did. For a lot of their classic
their Beat
material.
Saber.
Yes, for their
back.
Oh man, if there was an Uncle Luke Beat Saber pack, I would play some Beat Saber.
It's the only way to get
That's
your
the only way I'm
into
this. Yes, you want me in on Beat Saber, or any of these pistol whip, any of this shit. Uncle Luke, the 2 Live
You have
Crew.
my number.
That's right. Yeah, Uncle Luke, you have my number. I don't think Uncle Luke has my number.
But he could probably.
He could get it.
He could go like through your like Tumblr or something, maybe. You know,
Yeah,
just, like,
exactly.
hit you
He
up
could, yes,
and-
he could.
Sure you
Yes,
have
there's
it
a way.
advertised.
Yeah.
Uncle Luke could DM me. And then I would say, man,
What are you doing on Twitter?
what are you doing on Twitter? You should be somewhere hosting a radio show or running for mayor or whatever it is you're doing now.
Yeah, sure.
Fucking, I don't. Yeah, like in my mind,
do all
those
three.
are the 3
You
things
can do
that
all three
Uncle
of
Luke
those.
does.
Yeah.
Or I think he coaches a children's sports team.
Oh, great.
All at once.
Hey, Uncle Luke is a pillar of the community.
I've got nothing but
right,
love
man.
for Uncle
Cowards
Luke.
from power get sprayed and dade.
All right.
Anyway, the Game Awards happened.
Yeah.
But really what happened was they took the fucking wraps off the next Xbox.
Oh yeah.
Mm.
They did it there, which is like a cool, weird,
Certainly unexpected. Yeah.
thing to do. You think about, God. So the Xbox 360, I think they announced on MTV.
Right. With Elijah Wood.
With Elijah Wood.
That's right.
Ya boy, Elijah Wood, I think is the appropriate. I think this is full. Oh, no, sorry. Elijah Wood Tellum, I think is his. And the Xbox One, they had that clusterfuck of an event at their own campus
Yep.
where they announced the name and showed it off. And then every member of the press got a different executive to interview, and they all had different answers. It's just like,
Oh no.
so
yeah, which is like with the chaos
Exactly.
of it has to always be online. Stuff
Exactly. So whoever got Phil Harrison got like a very different story than other. So all the journalists got back on the bus to go back from the Microsoft campus back to the hotel area of Seattle.
Yeah.
The H Zone, where hentai is king, and so that whole bus ride was everyone comparing notes and going, wait, you heard what? And so by the end of that bus ride, everyone was just like, what the fuck is going on? Like, it was amazing. Amazing. Their message seems much more simple this time around. Hey, check out this hulking fucking slab.
I love it.
Monolith.
Yes, this monolith of video game power, and it plays video games.
But it can play them upright or on its side.
Just like a PlayStation 2.
Just like a GameCube.
What? Yeah, I mean, I guess, yeah.
Brad brought this up,
Technically,
and
sure.
I need to know as well is if that X actually turns.
Right.
Does it orientate?
Yeah, does
Well,
it?
isn't
Can
it
it
an
rotate?
X, doesn't it?
But
The Xbox logo has
like-
meat on the bottom,
Yeah.
I
Oh,
believe.
you're right.
The bottom tines of the X,
Yeah.
I believe, are meatier than the top ones, or vice versa. So it's not.
Anyway, that's what I need to know before moving forward.
I want that button to be an OLED screen.
Sure.
That when you rotate it, it knows.
Oh, yeah.
And updates. That's the only way. It's the only way I'll accept them making a new Xbox. No. So they named it Xbox. At the end of the day, they talked about the Xbox Series X and showed the Xbox Series X.
Yes. Which is that specific console.
Right. In the some of the follow-up reporting, Ben Gilbert over at Business Insider talked with Microsoft, and the quote he got from the rep was, "The name we're carrying forward to the next generation is simply Xbox." At the Game Awards, you saw that name come to life through the Xbox Series X. Similar to what fans have seen with previous generations, the name Xbox Series X allows room for additional consoles in the future. So they did it. They did the thing. They did it right.
Yeah.
They fucking
They
said,
kind
fuck
of
it.
flattened everything.
We're calling
We've got
it
a
Xbox.
platform. This is what we're going to do going forward.
Yeah.
Just like PC iterations or
Totally,
shit like that.
or an iPhone
Right.
or whatever.
Yep.
Like it's the Xbox, and I think that's 1,000% the right move.
Yeah, I'm absolutely with you.
Yeah. So if you walk this backwards into a lot of the rumors and stuff that has gone around about Project Scarlet, eventually the code name begat more code names to where people started talking about Anaconda and Lockhart.
Yeah.
And so, they aren't really commenting on any of the rumors, and they don't want to get into like, oh, yes, of course we're working on a separate Xbox or whatever just yet. But I think the assumption, or the safe assumption, is, we'll see. Maybe it's not safe at all. But like, I think where I'm going with this is I think that what we saw was Anaconda. And if there's another Xbox out there, that would be Lockhart, which is the lower end model that ends up being more affordable or something like that. Maybe they don't launch with that.
Streaming only or something.
Or like, hey, here's the, it technically plays all these games that the Xbox One at some point will not.
Yeah.
But is fewer teraflops than.
Oh no.
Yeah.
This is already pretty terafloppy.
Yeah, it's so we're not going to go super stats heavy here, but they've talked about an NVMe SSD, GDDR6, a Zen 2 CPU, hardware-based ray tracing, support for HDMI 2.1 features like auto low latency mode, which is something that
That sounds
TVs
cool.
can.
Yeah.
That does sound pretty awesome. Like TVs that will know, like, oh, you're playing a video game. Let me turn all this bullshit off so that you don't have to fuck around in all these menus. If that works right, that's pretty cool. Variable refresh rate, so like a FreeSync, G-Sync style. That's all stuff that's coming to televisions. I don't know how much of that stuff is out there now. I haven't kept up.
Not a ton.
Yeah,
not
it
as
doesn't
much
seem
as
like
you would
there's,
think. It's starting to pick up traction.
Like the HDMI 2.1 standard,
Yeah.
or because I know even within that standard, TVs can support some parts of it, but not others.
Right.
So it's like that sounds confusing. Because like if you were buying that TV today, and you were like, oh, HDMI 2.1, that might not guarantee that you would get everything that you would want from a gaming TV if you're going to buy one of these, or presumably a PlayStation 5, because they're everything we've heard is that these two boxes are very similar. Microsoft has something they are calling a dynamic latency input, which according to GameSpot's
Awesome. Negative latency again.
yeah, negative latency all over it. No, so GameSpot had a story that went up alongside the announcement, and The quote from there is that it allows inputs to directly sync up with a game's rendering path.
That sounds
So-
pretty crazy. Yeah, so
Yeah.
you're like bypassing a step essentially.
Exactly, yeah.
One less hop.
Yeah, and I think the fascinating thing that we're seeing right now at the unveiling of a console, right, is the stuff they're talking about is really focused on the types of specs that I feel like game consoles never actually nail in the end.
Mm-hmm.
It's that they talk about, hey, 4K, 60 frames a second. Also, it's capable of 120 frames per second. Also, it's capable of 8K. But they're not saying 8K 60. They're not saying 8K 120,
Right.
obviously. Not even saying 4K 120. But it gives you the idea that they are going to maybe actually, and I feel like they signaled some of this stuff when we talked to Phil Spencer back at E3 a little bit, but it's that notion of like they might actually care about frame rate this time.
Sure.
And latency, like those things kind of go hand in hand. And the idea that someone is out there thinking about, that a platform holder is thinking about things like controller latency and that sort of stuff is interesting to hear at this stage.
Refreshing at the very least.
Yeah. And we'll see how it all pans out. I mean, maybe they'll fuck it up. Who knows? Like maybe it'll be like, oh, we had to focus on this because it's got 3 extra frames on this end of the pipeline, and it's actually terrible.
And I feel like, compared to when the Xbox One was launching and earlier consoles, you're dealing with kind of the average gamer. I feel like is a little more savvy about these things. They maybe have a PC now versus back then. Like the market saturation for PC is a lot higher. Like
And like TVs are advertising specific things.
Exactly.
There's that, yeah, for sure. But I think also
some people are getting a little more educated as far as
Exactly.
feature sets. Yeah.
But also, this is the start of a generation, and the people that are going to be excited about a console right now that's not coming out for another year are the people that care about those features. So this is the right message to send right now.
Yeah.
Because that mainstream audience isn't really going to care
so
about
much
that
about
stuff.
the tech. Like most of this stuff, they're like, they'll care like, okay, does it do 4K maybe? Or
Right,
kind of, the broader stuff like that matches up with when they went TV shopping a couple years ago or whatever. But,
Right. Or if they're thinking about getting a TV,
Yeah.
then they get into that. But also, if you imagine that there is another Xbox out there that is cheaper, that is not as powerful, all that other stuff that might still be built for 1080 or might still be built for like, hey, it'll do the 4K stuff, but maybe not, with the ray tracing. Maybe, maybe I don't know what features they cut from a lower end model. But they've talked about a little bit about teraflops for that one too, and it actually comes in a little bit below the Xbox One X around the current rumors, which maybe that's bullshit. Who knows?
Yeah.
So maybe that means it's a streaming focused box for Project xCloud stuff. Or I think it's kind of the exciting thing. And I think part of why the Xbox name makes sense is because they've transitioned Xbox to mean a platform and a host of software services alongside a console. Windows 10 has the Xbox Game Bar built in now, and all this other Xbox stuff.
Right.
And Game Pass is on PC. All that stuff across the board. They all just keep using the Xbox name. So I think that's kind of cool.
Yeah, they've been pointing this direction for quite a while.
Yeah.
So it's good that they kind of stuck the landing on it.
Yeah. I feel like they did. They showed Senua's Saga Hellblade 2 with a real-time trailer. Yeah, weird, but also a game that lets them show some footage that says, here, this is real time, but also doesn't overshadow the talk about the console.
Yeah.
Whereas, like, if they showed Halo again,
Yeah.
which is the only other first-party game that is announced for this thing,
right.
then they have to get into what is Halo Infinite, and I don't think they're ready for that discussion yet.
Yeah. And
Or I guess I'd say that's a larger discussion than they could have on stage at the Game Awards.
Yeah, totally. And this being a sequel, it's kind of like, hey, you know what that first, if you care enough.
But if you don't, then you look at it and go, hey, this looks pretty good.
Yeah.
Hey,
that lady's got
that
some
lady's
weird gunk on her. That's
4K,
cool.
some 4K gunk.
Yeah.
And so I think that probably works as well. Like Sony is, they're kind of leaning on some of the SSD stuff, talking about reduced or eliminated loading times, and maybe even using that with the notion of like you can suspend multiple games at the same time.
Yeah, okay.
Because if you're just coming off an SSD, like spinning that back up might be pretty fast.
It's going to be like my Apple TV, and I've got 20 different fucking apps because I don't know how to close it in games.
Or like Apple TV, where it just keeps my receiver on all the time, no matter what,
Yeah.
even though it is technically turned off because it doesn't actually turn on. Man, fuck that. Oh my God. Oh, should not have bought an Apple TV. The controller is slightly smaller and it has a share button on it.
Okay.
And it has the hybrid D-pad from the Elite Series 2.
Mm-hmm.
And it is slightly more rounded at the top from the looks of it.
Anything on the back at all? I didn't
Doesn't
see
seem like it.
Okay.
But
Why'd they have to make it smaller, man? Why'd they have to make it smaller?
the quote was that it takes it from being good from for 95% of people's hands to 98.
Yeah, well, now I'm part of the 2%.
Yeah, well.
No, I'm sure it'll be fine.
For you, they have a controller. It's called the Xbox Elite Series 3.
As long as it's not a Joy-Con.
Yeah.
Yeah,
yeah,
I
older
like that D-pad
generation.
a lot on the Elite.
Yeah.
The Elite Series 2 is a fucking elevator. Also, those controllers will still work.
Yeah,
so
that's great.
whatever.
And
if
this
you
will
don't
work
need a
with
share
the
button.
Xbox One, right? The
new controller?
I believe I saw that.
Sure, why not?
They will work with PC and Xbox
Oh yeah,
One.
PC seems like a
Oh,
no-brainer.
obviously, yeah.
Xbox One. Okay, sure.
Yeah.
Why not? If you can, you can. Let's see. The GameSpot story got into a little bit more detail. It's got a single large fan, and it outputs roughly the same amount of noise as a One X.
Okay. Which isn't too terribly loud. Yeah,
that's not a super loud console. I've been pretty happy with the acoustics on that thing, I guess.
Right.
Kind of also reiterated some of the stuff from XO19 in that GameSpot story, talking about xCloud. And kind of reiterating that there's been no work from developers to make it work. They talk about the idea of going to visit developers and then pulling a phone out and being like, by the way, we made your games run on xCloud
Nice.
without any access to the code base or any of that other stuff, which is interesting. And also kind of reiterated that seems to be a part of Game Pass Ultimate in 2020.
I think so.
That seems to be what they're saying.
Okay.
I guess they haven't really said like, hey, if the price is going to go up or if that's just all included or whatever. But let's see. They had this to say about backwards compatibility. Thanks to backwards compatibility, you can expect your gaming legacy, thousands of your favorite games across 4 generations of gaming, all your Xbox One gaming accessories. I wonder if that means the Kinect. Think it'll have a Kinect port on it?
No.
Will it have to be like a
can't.
USB to
There'll be
Kinect
an
adapter?
adapter. Yeah.
That then they sell for like a
Because
week.
wouldn't that
and
be
then it goes out.
technically a 360?
Well, there's an Xbox One Kinect.
Yeah.
It doesn't work with the 360 games.
Okay.
But there was.
All right.
Remember when that thing launched, they put a Kinect in every
Oh,
box.
yeah. It was a big deal.
Yeah.
I don't know if I would call it a big deal.
Well, they wanted it to be a big deal.
They wanted it to be a big deal.
Yes.
Yeah, this makes me really happy. I'm a big fan of backwards compatibility, and to know that I'm going to have my old stuff kind of coming over with me. When I got really excited when Phil Spencer tweeted that he's brought his new box home, and it's his main one right now, and that
right.
that
idea
pretty much
was like,
solidified
okay,
the idea that
this will just play stuff.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah, that's
down for
the
that.
hope. I mean, who knows? Maybe he only plays games that aren't out yet.
That's true.
The other thing that they touched on was something that we brought up around E3 that they wouldn't necessarily commit to, but seem to be leaning in this direction. And that's the notion of buying a game once and having it work across generations.
Okay.
Meaning Halo Infinite specifically, which I
Right.
think is the only one they've announced for both. But the quote here is, "We're committed to ensuring that games from Xbox Game Studios support cross-generation entitlements and that your achievements and game saves are shared across devices."
Shit.
I think
Okay.
the idea there is that, if I'm extrapolating a little bit here because they didn't necessarily spell it all out this way, but if you read what that seems to be saying, it's that you will buy Halo Infinite once. If you buy it on an Xbox One and then buy a Series X later, if you buy an Xbox later, I guess, that you will be able to just keep playing it, and
Okay.
it won't be the backwards compatible Xbox One version on a Series X. It would be the Series X version of the game.
Right.
That seems like the thing to do, and it seems like that's what they're doing.
Yeah.
That's maybe I'm
I'm still wrapping my head around this. Like, what's the PC equivalent of like a generation? Is it like DirectX 11 to 12, or
it becomes video cards, and it's largely video cards. Obviously, like there are generations of CPU and all that other stuff, but I feel like if you're trying to match PC hardware up to the console generations, it used to be that consoles would launch and they were somehow more powerful than current PCs. They were more streamlined. Like developers were able to just get a little bit more out of them. They felt like you were playing better games than you could on PC.
Yep.
And then a generation leap would happen on the PC video card stuff, and PC would be way ahead all over again. And that would extend out for X number of years. And then the next generation of consoles would come and leapfrog all that shit again and have something more powerful or that seemed better looking, at least, than current PCs. And then that whole process would happen again and again for the last 4 generations, at least. The last 3 generations. Because that broke at some point. I feel like when PlayStation 4 and Xbox One came out, they already weren't there. They were already behind a little bit. And I don't know, the specs on this stuff, and talking to developers and people that have worked with the specs, the dev kits or whatever, these 2 consoles sound fucking powerful.
Yeah.
Right? Like on the CPU front, especially, it sounds like there's just like a lot going on here that to get excited about as a game developer.
I mean, the simplicity of that Spider-Man video that Sony did of him just like, especially having played that game, but just like whipping through that entire city without a single second of loading was like, that alone got me excited.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And if you're building directly for that stuff, if you know that 100% of your user base has an SSD, you can optimize your engines around that sort of technology. You run into weird problems. Like if you think about add-on hard drives, for this generation, that was super useful to be able to be like, oh, I'm going to put this 2 terabyte drive into the back of this Xbox or PlayStation and then just run games from there. And they actually, in some cases, load slightly faster than they do off the internal drive.
Right.
That's something you probably lose this generation, which we talked about back when some of this other stuff was coming out about these consoles. But like, are you then limited to, let's guess, 1 terabyte? That seems like a safe... Like a 1 terabyte SSD seems like the sweet spot price-wise.
Why we would lose that functionality of like an additional...
Well, because if you're just plugging in whatever hard drive you got, it's slower.
It could be,
and does that break
I wonder.
things?
Unless there's some sort of like advancement in that space, like we were talking, like the introduction of the SSD kind of is a huge deal because it's like, okay, it's this new thing that PCs have been able to utilize to make playing PC games easier, faster, whatever, better.
Yeah.
Is there going to be a leap like that again on the PC side that then they could like with a X series, whatever, incorporate?
Well, I think I'd have to go look at a bunch of numbers and try to crunch it out. So I'm not the guy.
We got time.
Okay. All right. I'm not the guy to do this, but
I see what you're saying though. Like
my
if somebody
question
picked up
is,
like a hybrid drive or something like that is a little bit slower than a typical SSD.
Right. Or they were just like, fuck it, I got this 10 gigabyte Western Digital drive that I haven't shucked yet. I'll just plug it into this thing.
Fucking 10 terabytes, man.
That's a slow fucking drive.
Right.
And then you're going over USB. Which then, so I guess my question then is like, and again, this is where we'd have to go do a bunch of math. Is USB 3 plus an external SSD fast enough to do what the internal drive would do? NVMe, you would think no, but the fuck do I know? The fuck do I know?
Maybe it is fast enough.
Maybe it is.
Maybe.
The fuck do I know? I don't fucking know.
I don't know either.
Why don't you...
Right. I haven't done the number. I haven't crunched any numbers.
You need to do the numbers.
Brad probably knows.
Yeah.
We'll ask him when he comes
listening
back.
and going, you fucking morons.
Yep.
So yeah, I think that's super exciting that they just said fuck it and announced the console here.
Yeah.
At the Game Awards. I think that's it's obviously like a gigantic get for the Game Awards.
Right.
Probably like the biggest thing that they've ever been a part of.
Yeah. It makes a lot of sense for Microsoft though. Like the people who are watching this are the people who are super keyed in, the people who know about the video games of the year and
Yes.
then the
They
coming
know about the
video
video games.
But I it's pretty much the entire press because that's all Twitter is talking about.
Sure.
So everyone's
Yeah,
just like,
yeah.
I guess I might as well tune in and check this out. And
Wherever they put that information out, people were going to find it. But that was a interesting place to pick.
Yeah.
And
it's like a celebration. It's also like the mood is through the roof, right? Because everyone's excited about games. It's like we're celebrating video games and everyone's happy and cheery. And it's like now you have something to even look forward to next year, right? Like here we go.
Right. Yeah, and so I think that's and it's surprising. I think I had been thinking like, oh well, they'll probably have their own event.
Expecting this,
Yeah, like okay, if you think about the hits they have left about that console before it comes out, it's okay. We've got to get the look and name out there. Maybe those are two separate things. Maybe that's one thing. It turned out to be one thing. Then you've got price and date, and then you've got hands-on with games / launch lineup. And that's an E3 thing.
That's E3, yeah.
And I think they've also committed to going big at E3, if you will, which they own that theater next door. So of course they're going to be there.
So with all this, you said the word. What do you think the price?
I'm gonna say 500. That seems to be a popular number, but yeah, that's where it kind of puts me.
I could see $499 being like a reasonable.
I think
especially if there's two versions.
If there are
like
two versions, I might actually go higher.
The thing is, I don't think they do two versions at launch, because early adopters want the powerful one.
Yeah,
they can speak to that mainstream audience down the line, but I think getting out there, especially if you look at how the Xbox One went, I think if they just play their hand as check out all this power. This is the box for you, and also it offers the most choice depending on where you play games, whether it's streaming, whether it's on PC, whatever. I think it makes sense for them to just have the one unit available.
Get people playing it, get people onboarded, and then
and get them talking about like, man, this thing's awesome. So you have other people going like, that's cool, but it sounds expensive, and then you've got like, well, hey, we've got a model for you over here too
in like 2021 or whatever.
Right. Yeah. You wait some time, you get that market penetration, and then everyone loves to get in that market,
go deep on the market,
all up in that market. And then when you're making your more mainstream pitch, sometime after launch, you say, "Here's the thing." Like they have a $150 Xbox One out now. It's just the one that doesn't have a drive on it.
Yeah.
That's not a lot of money.
Mm-hmm. And then they could also they started with this console rolling out the payment plan options,
right?
You wonder if they're going to do something similar, down the line.
Well, so there was something about like, hey, if you want to get in a version of that program where you're like putting payments on an Xbox One, you can upgrade to.
Oh, interesting.
It was Scarlet at the time, but it was like, hey, you can get a year in on your Xbox One and then trade it out for the new thing.
Who was doing that? Was that Amazon?
That was Microsoft.
That was Microsoft that was doing that? I thought I swore I saw
and
that
it was
on
pretty
Amazon.
reasonable. Didn't seem that predatory or anything.
Yeah. Their stuff has not been like I personally, whatever. I don't need to buy a console that way, but that's cool that they're doing that.
Yeah. They don't want to have people out of buying games. That's their moneymaker. So
right, and they've got Game Pass and all those. Like it's.
Game Pass is so
video
good.
Games. Video games got fucking like the video game business got fucking weird, man.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Somebody's gonna put baseball out on other platforms. Microsoft put Cuphead out on the Switch.
Yeah.
And Tesla.
Mortal Kombat. Yeah. Mortal Kombat 11 is going to be crossplay momentarily.
Weird.
Any day now. It's just fucking weird. It's great though. It's awesome. There's never been a better time. You know the rest. Let's see. Other stuff from the Game Awards. You know what? Why don't we take a break and we'll come back and we'll get through the rest of these announcements and some other news and we'll talk about, what we've been playing, what else is going on.
Sure.
All that other stuff. We'll be right back. Why do you need State Farm Renters Insurance? Because it helps protect the stuff landlords don't. Like your furniture that gets drenched by a broken pipe, or when a burglar makes off with your new laptop. When you add it all up, your stuff's probably worth more than you think. But in the event of a burglary, fire, or water to your belongings from a broken pipe, landlords won't cover your loss. For pennies a day, you can make sure your stuff's protected with State Farm Renters Insurance. And with more than 19,000 agents across the U.S., it's easy to find one close by. Because when it comes to renters insurance, State Farm agents are ready to help. Find an agent or get a quote at statefarm.com. That's statefarm.com. Player unknown.
Did they unmask him at the Game Awards?
They did, yeah. They brought him out. They pulled a
There's a
burlap
known
sack.
quantity.
Yeah.
They pulled the welding mask off his face.
Yep. And it was Hideo Kojima.
I knew it.
PUBG Corp / Player Unknown Productions, which is like a 25-person spin-off studio in Amsterdam.
Okay.
That Player Unknown is heading up. Announced a new game at the Game Awards called Prologue. That's kind of all we really. It's kind of.
They had a teaser trailer, and it was a very, very short teaser trailer.
Some dogs barking.
Yeah, dogs barking. There's some lightning flashing, and it cuts to prologue.
Yeah.
And then that's it.
The sentence they have here on their Twitter account and some of the press material they did put out is, Prologue is an exploration of new technologies and gameplay experiences.
Single player?
I'm gonna
Presumably?
say, I don't know. Maybe. Maybe not.
Yeah, this is their opportunity
you
to
look at
spin
it
off and
I've seen some
do
people,
something new.
Yeah, I've seen some people try to say that maybe it's a horror game or
It looks
something along those
survivalist.
lines. Yeah, or like
Sure.
some kind of survival game or something like that. But hard to say.
This is their shot, man.
Yeah.
What if they ripped off Fortnite's Survive the Night?
Just get back into
Yeah?
it. Yeah. It's the only way forward. It's a nice looking teaser for what it's
sure,
worth.
sure.
Yeah. Gearbox, they make their own games, but they also publish other people's games.
I keep forgetting that.
Yeah. They have a publishing division. That,
Crazy. Yeah, I saw the Gearbox logo. I'm like, here we go again.
yeah, hobby grade. Let's hit it.
Battleborn 2.
Yeah. So this is they announced a game from Counterplay Games, which is 75 people over here in Emeryville.
Yeah,
And
that's where I live.
their kind of boilerplate thing is let's see, assembling a world-class team with the singular vision to craft games focused on high levels of personal mastery, drawing from our past experiences, working on God of War, Horizon Zero Dawn, Diablo 3, Gears 5, Titanfall 2, Left 4 Dead 2, Destiny 2, Evolve, Halo 5, Call of Duty, Overwatch, and Ratchet and Clank.
I think we can all say that.
So
really.
a lot of those 75 people worked on other games.
I feel like Evolve is kind of the odd man out there.
You know, Evolve didn't hit, but like I could see in this context, they're just like, sure, yeah.
Yeah.
You know, they tried some shit.
Mhm.
Some people liked it. Anyway, the game is called Godfall. And it is the first officially announced PlayStation 5 game.
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
weird to have that first little utterance in text, I guess, at the end of the trailer.
Yeah.
That was pretty cool.
So it's coming to PS5 and PC. It is a looter slasher, a shat shooter.
Shatter.
No?
Shatter.
Okay. It is a melee-focused action RPG designed for co-op. And I've seen more than a couple of people watch that trailer and say it reminds me of Two Human.
That was my first impression.
I think you were the first person to say that, and then I watched the trailer a couple days after that. Went,
Oh,
yeah.
Oh, they got that like futuristic, angelic, I don't know, aesthetic.
Yep.
Shooting guns and swinging swords.
Those characters look like they'd say Valhalla.
Yeah.
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 And also, contrasting style of announcements here. You think about the Xbox Series X stuff, which is granted, it's a different level of announcement. Here we have the first formally announced PlayStation 5 game. There were some other cases where, like, I think Koei confirmed, like, a game they were working on was intended for PS5, but wasn't necessarily a formal announcement, as I understand it.
So it still could be something else, you think?
Well, no. So this is it, because this was also posted to the PlayStation blog.
Oh, okay.
And so that kind of makes it official
right.
on top of that, where it's this really, I'm not saying anything about the quality of the game or the quality of the trailer. I think that stuff looks fine, like whatever. But in terms of, hey, you've kind of only got one shot to start announcing games, like having this third-party Gearbox published thing come out with like 2 sentences on the PlayStation blog under a trailer. It's like, hey, it's coming to PS5. Like, it just seemed weird.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that was the part that I think stuck out. I'm going to try and pull up this PlayStation blog post because I feel like I could just like almost count the number of words on it on one hand. But
yeah, because there's very little like known quantities about third-party support for either of the platforms.
Yeah, and it's not even on their front page anymore. Like it's you know, it's scrolled off. It's whatever. All right,
It could be swooter because it's like a sword looter.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Think so?
I think you don't have to lean into the slash part, even though shoot is the keyword of schluter.
Right.
Yeah, so it's a post from the CEO of the developer with a few animated GIFs and like a few paragraphs.
Okay.
You know, just like, hey, rewarding you with head-turning powerful loot that inspires your next set of character builds. We get to accomplish both with... we found it with a singular desire to create games focused on high-level personal mastery, rewarding players for the time invested with our titles. We get to accomplish both with Godfall and the hugely exciting PlayStation 5 hardware. Like, that's kind of the only lip service paid to the console.
Right.
It just, yeah, anyway, it's not a huge deal. Obviously, Sony will have their big announcement, and they will have some of their own games to go along, you know, their next big hit or their next media hit, I mean. But
their next state of play or whatever.
Yeah, or if they have an event or whatever they end up doing. But it's a bizarre, especially in contrast of like, hey, elsewhere in this award show was like...
That was what peaked its head out.
Yeah.
That's strange. Yeah, I'm with you.
It almost seems like that's something that in the past would get announced as it's coming to PC and next generation consoles. Like it wouldn't be concept approved for them to even say the words PlayStation 5.
Right.
Seems weird.
Yeah.
To have that be one of the... It's weird. Strange. Just a weird way to do it, I guess.
Here we are.
Some other stuff got announced along the way. Bravely Default 2 is coming to Switch in 2020. The third Bravely Default game. For Bravely games that were...
Yeah.
But that's the third one?
Because Bravely Second is the second one.
Okay. Bravely Second is the second. All right. Whatever.
Whatever Telltale is going to put out
What
Wolf
the
Among
fuck
Us 2.
is going on at Telltale?
Yeah.
So all of a sudden
what is Telltale?
trailers
Telltale is a company owned by a foreign entity that has captured in their sphere a new team formed by
some of the
old Telltale people.
Right.
They said like they shouted out specific creative talent.
Yeah.
That was involved in Wolf 1 specifically.
Okay.
All
right.
But yeah.
So they had to have had this in development
Some
for quite
form.
some time. Yeah, I'm sure.
I mean, there was, like old Telltale used to like say, oh, people are always asking us about Wolf Among Us 2, and boy, that'd be fun to do someday. Anyway, here's Batman, or whatever the fuck else.
I feel like if you're going to start up Telltale again and try to get in people's good graces, it's like this is like your
the closest
easiest
they get to
because
like a fan favorite.
It's unlicensed.
Really?
You don't have to worry about
it's licensed.
That is a license.
Yeah, it's totally
it's a comic
licensed.
book or something, right?
Fables.
It's
Fables,
not like a
It's not
Walking
like
Dead
Batman.
or a Batman.
Exactly, yeah, no.
You know, it's lower stakes and it's something that fans have been. Everyone I know who played Wolf 1 really enjoyed it.
And my understanding is that it didn't do super well.
Yeah.
But, so
critical success.
Yeah.
Not
So
necessarily
yeah, if you're
commercial.
trying to get people to care about Telltale again, that seems like that's a path for sure.
I just think that it was well in the can, pretty much. And they didn't have to put too
They
much
just
work.
dusted it off
Yeah.
and we're like, oh shit, there's like most of a game here. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I
That's
wonder.
my guess.
Surgeon Simulator 2 is coming next year.
Oh, crazy.
Ori and the Will of the Wisps will be out March 11th.
Hell yeah. And coming to Game Pass.
Yeah. Ghost of Tsushima. They showed a trailer of that. It'll be out in the summer.
They
That's
did
some
another one of
samurai-ass
those
stuff.
fucking it's not a flute. One of those live music things that they did at the
With the woodwinds.
yeah.
You know, the
boy,
flutes.
Showed up with a bunch of
really
That's
piccolos.
another flute thing.
We got it.
Zamfir pulled out the pan flute and went fucking nuts, and that game's out in the summer. Looks nice. That trailer good. Gears Tactics out in April. Handful of other games announced. Weird West from Wolfeye Studios, which is the new studio from Rafael Colantonio.
It's got a neat look to it.
Is the he is most associated with Dishonored and Dark Messiah of Might and Magic, and sending GameSpot a really crazy email when I reviewed Dark Messiah of Might and Magic. Chris Avallone is doing the writing on that. It's kind of a top-down
surprise.
Yeah, like most other video games, Chris Avallone is involved in the writing. And it is kind of a top-down, isometric-y, immersive sim from the co-creators of Dishonored and Prey.
Cool.
So
That could be cool.
there's that. Dark Alliance.
Oh.
Meaning another game like Baldur's Gate Dark Alliance. They're going to make another one of those, or a spiritual successor to those games.
Were the Dark Alliance like the Marvel Super or the
Marvel
Ultimate Alliance? Yeah, okay.
Absolutely. Like
There we go.
it was the, like, hey,
Less
you
computer
know what
RPG.
Baldur's Gate is, but now we've made it action Diablo style.
More Diablo. There we go. That's what I was looking for.
it's console Diablo.
Yep.
It
So
is
is this-
run around with the left stick and hack shit up.
Cool.
Is this enough games to have its own genre, the Alliance genre?
Yes, all the Alliance games.
I mean, they're all kind of Diablo clones, right?
Yeah,
So
basically. Yeah. It's console Diablo.
Diablo
Pretty much.
Schluter.
There you go.
Yeah.
Now you're getting disgusting. This will be out in 2020 on PC and consoles. Your boy Drizzit
Oh yeah, that guy was in there.
is in it.
Finally.
He's a dark elf.
Drizzit Dodorden.
Are you okay?
No.
Do you smell burning
Yeah, I
toast?
smell. It smells like burnt. Like someone set a penny on fire inside my brain. Yeah, Drizzit Deworden, who is the dark elf that is like.
You can keep saying Drizzit Dewarden.
Okay, I will.
But
Drizzit
it's not gonna make me know what Drizzit Dewarden is.
Drizzit Deworden is dark elf.
Okay.
Yeah.
Who is the star of a lot of Dungeons and Dragons stories over the years.
Forgotten Realms in particular.
Yeah.
I thought I was the star of Dungeons and Dragons.
Well, yeah. Yeah. But I guess you will play as Drizzit, and this is set in Icewind Dale, so they're kind of pulling on.
Now that I know.
What this means is they are making a new Dark Alliance game. It is not a Baldur's Gate Dark Alliance game.
Right.
It is set, in a different parts of the D&D universe, and they are pulling on some of its best-loved lore
okay.
in an attempt to make it stand out.
Yeah, sure.
Drizzit.
It's going to be there.
Yeah. Drizzit's going to
Our
be there.
human tongues can't correctly
Exactly.
pronounce.
I mean, there's an apostrophe
Your
in his last name.
Yeah.
So, they mean business. Built for 4-player co-op. That's cool. Those Baldur's Gate Dark Alliance games were fucking rad back
I
then.
like those a lot. Yeah.
And there was there was EverQuest Online Adventures, which was kind of like a similar
Oh boy.
type thing.
Yeah.
No, not what
That was different.
EQOA. Okay, well there was an EverQuest themed game that was like Dark Alliance though.
Okay.
EQOA was a different
Yeah.
Champions of
Norath. That's
Yeah.
exactly right.
Yeah.
Yes. There was that was a really good era right in there. If
Yeah.
you liked
Hell
Diablo and playing games on consoles, those games I scratched us very specific itch.
I think
And now there are a ton of games like that, and maybe not a ton, but whatever. They put Diablo 3 out on consoles, and so you see a lot more of that stuff on console than you did back then. Whereas then it seemed novel and crazy. Anyway, that's cool, and it has, if I'm reading this right, Drizzit Deworden in it.
Oh, the famous Dark Elf.
Yeah, that guy. He's there. Fast and Furious Crossroads
Saving the best for last.
is due out in May 2020.
Did you watch the clip of Vin Diesel out there?
No, I did not.
It's
I
good.
watched the trailer for the game.
It's good.
It's
good. Project Cars. folks.
Slightly Mad Studios, who I think just got acquired by Codemasters,
Yeah.
like right around this, like last week or something. So they're doing development on it. Bandai Namco will be doing the publishing. They're billing it as a team-based vehicular heist action game.
Honestly, I think I know what you're about to say, and I agree with you.
You don't know what I'm about to say,
Okay.
but go ahead.
I thought you were
I think
gonna
you
say-
know the gist of what I'm about to
I
say.
think the gist of what you're about to say is there's no way to make a good Fast and Furious game. Realistically.
Okay, yes. When you add realistically, yes. When you think about the budgets of current games and what a licensed game budget would likely be,
Yes.
there's no actual way to make the math work out to make something that truly represents the Fast and the Furious.
I totally agree, but I think the way they're talking about it is the way I would do it if I was tasked with that. I think like we were talking a little bit about this on a stream, and like if you look at something like Payday, there are games out there that do the whole. First of all, I think you have to lean into the heist aspect of Fast and Furious, which they've kind of largely gotten away from.
It's less heist and more like heist implies a crime. It's more like it's a caper.
Yeah, like, I feel like their last heist was maybe like 5. Getting that vault.
Yeah, getting that vault.
Yeah.
Yeah. But like it's that's when they're stealing shit. But there's definitely been cases where it's like we need to get on this moving train, or we need to do a fucking weird car stunt,
helicopter, or
we're out here on the ice doing whatever it is we do.
Yeah. So do that. Make that a game. You can have different classes. You can have different. Are you like in the muscle car,
right?
Or are you in the car where that guy hacks,
like GTA Online heists, or like Payday or something like that? Like everyone's playing different roles.
Yeah,
and that game becomes a live game that is heavily reliant on new content, which gets expensive, especially if you're recording new VO with actors who are not available.
Right. I think so far they confirmed that Vin Diesel,
Michelle Rodriguez, and then they have 2 new characters who are also being played by actors that have done not Fast and Furious work, but they are.
Maybe they'll be have like bit parts in the next.
It's just like that Matrix game. It just bridges the gap between. No,
I just need more sound bites of Michelle Rodriguez saying Tekken.
Yeah.
I'm interested to see what they do with it.
Well, the trailer looks like full auto. The trailer looks like vehicular combat.
It looks like
in
some
a straight
PS2,
line, like some real rotten
shit.
Yeah.
But I want to hear about like everything around it, because I mean I get it. You're going to be driving cars real fast and crashing into stuff,
and they'll shoot because in the trailer like half the cars have guns mounted on top of them, like it's twisted fucking, or
like the Vin Diesel Spy Hunter.
Yeah, like the Vin Diesel Spy Hunter. Or the Wheelman.
Yeah.
No, Wheelman didn't have a. Anyway. No.
You're thinking of Axel from Twisted Metal.
Triple X.
Which one of the ghosts? Driver, San Francisco.
Yeah.
Right.
You get to be a ghost.
Right.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah. But they have like mounted turrets on the cars, and it had a real full auto is not a good game. But it is that type of thing where it's like it's kind of a car combat game, but it's not an arena-based car combat game. It is a race in which you can shoot guns, like Wipeout, but bad. And Full Auto was a nightmare. I got every achievement in it. It fucking sucks.
What if they do stuff?
If you're trying to get every achievement in it, it really sucks.
What if they try and make it like Lucky and Wild, where one guy drives and one guy shoots?
I think you could do that, but who's gonna want to drive?
Oh, people who like
driving.
Yeah, like any game where you've got a 2-seater.
When I played Starsky and Hutch on the GameCube, which I played through the entirety of because we bought it at a flea market for like $2.
I have the soundtrack to that on vinyl.
It's
the Game Boy soundtrack
in
particular?
Not the Game Boy, but
I remember it being bad. The soundtrack.
Yeah, probably. I don't know.
But the driving in that game was fun. Then it could because the shooting was bad. So I guess the driving was better than the shooting, so I chose to drive.
Right. If you want that Lucky and Wild experience, then play Battlefield or Call of Duty or any game that has a multi-seat vehicle in it. And then you too can be disappointed by how it's not as good as Lucky and Wild.
That was their big final marquee announcement of the Game Awards.
It was Vin Diesel on stage. That's a big moment. I see why you would do that. But yeah, that game looks like ass. Like the actors, the models, like that stuff looks.
Yeah, that stuff looked
pretty
real
fucking
brutal.
rough.
Yeah.
When he came out for the Game Awards, did they play like a Don Omar track or anything, or did he come out on a car or anything?
No.
Just walked out.
I think
Just walked out, all excited.
Long over are the days of bringing Jack Black out or bringing Tim Schafer out on a throne carried by people.
God. That'd be pretty good. They shouldn't be. Those days could stick around. That'd be okay. That's the right kind of weird.
Yeah, that was fun. But now they're a lot more buttoned up.
Just like video games.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, the story you always heard about Vin Diesel is that he legit loves video games and tried to start his own studio.
Right. Yeah.
Tygon Studios.
He's got his D&D character's name tattooed on his chest.
Yeah. Right.
It's what was it?
Drizat.
Yeah.
Drizzt Diesel.
Drat. I think it's
my human tongue cannot do that.
No, you can't. It's got apostrophes in it. But yeah, I don't like I this looks marginally better than that budget ass Fast and the Furious game that we covered several years ago, and that ass Fast and Furious arcade game, and you know this. Project Cars was a cool driving game, and I think there'll probably be aspects of this that are fine. But when you look at it and you think about what Fast and the Furious is, and you think about the realities of family, and you think about every single frame of that trailer, I just look at it and go like, man, like that just looks like the most full auto ass video game. I mean, honestly, make in 2020.
It not like a 1-to-1, but it reminds me of like the last era of licensed movie games.
Totally. It doesn't look like it's beyond that. It doesn't look like it's and Vin Diesel was associated with like, holy shit, there's a good license game when Riddick came out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know? And when he was in The Wheelman, which was not a movie, but it was still Vin Diesel is The Wheelman. Like that was kind of cool in its own weird way. The Wheelman was not an amazing game, but hey, you could do a lot worse. And yeah, you're right. This doesn't look like it's more than just another licensed game like the licensed games they stopped making. And you look at it and go like, man, why isn't this just a mobile game? Why didn't they make a Fast and the Furious mobile game?
Right.
Which they probably did. Someone probably did that. So yeah, that's pretty much the Game Awards in terms of the big announcements. A few little things here and there. This morning, Sony announced something called the DualShock 4 back button attachment.
Oh,
hell yeah.
I was just looking at that.
Really rolls off the tongue.
So this is like a clip-on device.
As it looks.
That you can program the buttons, correct?
Yep. Yeah.
You can have it be the R2 or square or circle.
Yeah, it adds basically like paddle shift buttons, like an Xbox Elite controller or something like that, down to the lower part of the controller, and you can set those two paddles to be whatever you want.
Okay.
And there's a middle button that's actually an OLED screen, which seems like overkill, but I don't know. Where you can tap that to toggle between 3 different configurations of what those 2 buttons are.
Gotcha.
So if you wanted to be L1, R1, if you wanted to be square and X, you know, like whatever.
Can you do macros?
I don't know about that.
So it sounds like this is something that you would configure on, I guess on the PC, if you can have 3 different ones.
Well, I think the idea is that you're configuring it on the thing itself. But I don't know.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Huh. Maybe there's.
Otherwise, why would you put an OLED screen in it? Because maybe, and they did that with some of the headphones and stuff. Like you could store multiple audio configurations in the headphones, and there was an app you would install on the PS4 to manage that. And that's how they do it with the Xbox Elite controller. You have 3 different configurations you can put onto an Elite Series 2 and toggle between them. You create those configurations either on the PC or on an Xbox, and then save them. Save them to, I don't know if they go to the controller or the cloud, either way. And so, yeah, maybe this does have an app that you use to configure it. But I look at it and go like, there's an OLED screen on it. And my assumption is immediately like, crazy. Oh, you probably program it right on the device, right? Because otherwise, why wouldn't you just have a light that says 1, 2, or 3? It's $30. It will be out in the end of January. It looks slick for what it is. Yeah. I just I don't use I take the paddles off the Elite controller on the Xbox. I'm not looking for those buttons.
Yeah, I don't use those.
And when they pitch it as just like, get the competitive edge, like are a lot of pro players really using those? Can they?
They keep making that stuff.
They keep making that stuff.
I guess maybe.
Yeah.
Sure.
Scuff still exists.
Yes,
so
they do.
Someone is out there doing that.
Yeah,
shit.
I've got a Scuff controller, and I took the door off that held the
paddles and stuff. Yeah, it's just not. I don't.
They get in the way.
I don't need it. Either way, it looks slick for what it is, and that's kind of cool.
I like peripherals.
Yeah, it's a nice OLED screen. Like the screen looks nice. You know, it's a little circle. It's a little OLED.
I can probably with my own animated GIF. I'll bet you I could put it on.
I wonder. Hack that thing.
Fuck yeah.
Make it play Doom.
Speaking of controllers,
go on.
Guess what arrived in my home last week?
Oh yeah, mine showed up too. Have you taken your $5 Steam controller out of the box yet?
Yes.
Wow, way ahead of me.
Because I wanted to see it. I've never touched and used a Steam controller up until this point.
Did you get it?
It sucks. I really don't like that thing. And the button.
Hey, it was $5.
I think it was. Wasn't $1?
It was. Oh, you're right. Well, after shipping,
it was like $8 like yeah. Boy, Steam controller.
Yeah.
Going out of style for a reason.
Yeah. Also didn't work with the Outer Wilds, which was a huge bummer.
Well, a lot of that stuff, like Steam, you can create profiles for that controller and then save it another user, like in a workshop sense.
I was trying to figure that shit out, and I was like, "This is not worth it." I have an Xbox Elite controller.
That's kind of the thing. Is like this. Is it worth it to make that thing work? You have to really like the way that thing feels, or like hey, maybe you're playing a visual novel that only works with a mouse. And you're laying back on the couch and really getting relaxed.
I do really want to try and play Dota with like a game of Dota with that thing on the couch. Yeah, just see how it is.
It's for that, like it was their whole push for that thing was, can we do something that replicates the functionality of a mouse well enough for Steam boxes? And the answer was, now it's on sale for $5. So I guess that answers your question. But some people like the Steam controller.
Do not DM me if you like the Steam controller.
Just asking for it now.
Fair enough. We talked about the game industry being weird earlier. It's also increasingly brutal. PlanetSide Arena. I don't know if you remember this game. We played it on Unprofessional Fridays.
Yeah. It was kind of like the large team battle royales.
Yeah, sure. Like big team battle. Like I think that was a temporary thing. Like sometimes it's smaller squads too.
Okay.
Got some future tech in there.
Yeah, it's PlanetSide, but it's a battle royale, and it had been listed on Steam for quite a long time, and then finally came out in early access in September. Ooh. The game will be shutting down on January 10th.
Holy, I don't know if it's a record. But
it's not a record, but it's probably, it can't be a record.
Wow.
But holy shit.
Yeah. That bottom dropped out.
And at the time, like, it seemed like, man, I wonder why this doesn't. I get why you would be like, we need to try to make something happen with this battle royale thing while it's hot. They kind of missed the window on that. September 19 is pretty late in the game.
Yep.
Unless you've got something that is better than what's currently on the market. If you're not better than Apex, if you're not better than, or at least carving out your own style, and
sure,
the people that liked PlanetSide were pissed that they weren't still working on PlanetSide 2 or or whatever. So they kind of angered their existing community. Yep. They did not find a new community.
Dang.
And make sure I get the name right. Andy Seitz, the executive producer of the PlanetSide franchise, wrote this message as they announced the sunsetting of the game, the cancel. Anyway, hello everyone. After careful consideration, we've made the difficult decision to shut down PlanetSide Arena servers. While our team set out with an ambitious vision for a game that combined the massive scale combat and camaraderie of PlanetSide through a diverse collection of new game modes, it has become clear after several months in early access that our population levels make it impossible to sustain the gameplay experience we envisioned. As a result, PlanetSide Arena will formally shut down servers on January 10th, 2020 at 5:00 p.m. Pacific time. We're actively working with Steam to ensure that all players who made purchases during early access will automatically receive a full refund to their Steam wallet after servers shut down in January. Thank you again for your loyalty and support during beta and early access. Your feedback was invaluable, and your enduring passion for PlanetSide remains the bedrock of our community. The bedrock our community is built upon. As painful as it is to close this chapter so quickly, we remain deeply committed to this franchise and look forward to continuing this journey through the PlanetSide universe with all of you.
What a bummer.
Yeah. Like, I don't...
On both sides, too. Like, as you said, you've kind of isolated or alienated, your player base, your original player base that's so in love with that franchise. And then to put so many resources into this offshoot. And then pull the plug right away. Wow.
And just like out of the gate, it seemed like it was hard to get in games sometimes.
Right.
Like week one, it wasn't like there was some like wave of hype that died down. It just felt like it kind of came out and you're like, oh, wow. And me as a person who loved PlanetSide 1 and by the time PlanetSide 2 had come out, I feel like that game was not in a unique enough space anymore. Like there were games out there that were good, fun online games doing things at larger scales, and it wasn't as novel as it was with PlanetSide 1.
Right.
So I didn't play a ton of the follow-up.
Do you think they have enough goodwill left over to switch back to that model?
Well, it sounds like that they are putting. Well, they didn't shut down PlanetSide 2 when they went in this direction. So I think that maybe there's some of this concept they could roll back in, maybe. But I think they may have also said like, hey, here's the latest patch for PlanetSide 2.
Right.
Or I think it's PlanetSide 2. It's not. Or did they? Is it PlanetSide 2?
Arena?
Or is it, no, PlanetSide Arena is the game that's shutting down.
Yeah.
And I think PlanetSide 2 is still the going active.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, PlanetSide 2 is on Steam. Okay. Yeah, that came out in 2012 originally.
Okay. That's good. I didn't know if they were still actively supporting that.
Yeah, I think I want to say they're going back to it and saying like, oh, okay. But I think about it, that's got to be a weird place to be in where you're like, okay, PlanetSide 2 has maybe peaked or like, hey, what can they do to bring in new players to PlanetSide 2? That's a hard one, right? That game's been around since 2012. Like people have made the decision one way or the other. It's increasingly difficult to get new people to understand, hey, PlanetSide 2 is out here and it's good.
No.
So, okay, let's take some resources and make something different and try to make something new that will bring in new players. And fingers crossed, we'll make a bunch of money off that because that's hot. And hey, best case scenario, some of them get into PlanetSide 2 along the way too. Wouldn't that be neat? No,
did not happen.
No, for me, like this, reading this, like I don't normally react this way, but like I was short of breath reading that announcement when I first saw it. It was just like, oh my God. Because like I went and looked, like the game came out in fucking September.
Right.
It was on Steam and in various forms of beta for a really long time. Like that store page had been there for a long time. The amount of hours that must have gone into developing this thing that made it September, October, November, December, 4 months.
Shit.
4 motherfucking months.
Is this the first notable battle royale like shot in complete whiff? You know, because we've had other big ones.
Radical Heights.
Oh my God, that's how forgettable that one was. Because I was gonna say, like, you know, there's other ones, like even the Battlefield one isn't the most popular, but they're still supporting it and patching it and stuff like that.
Yeah. Right.
But yeah, oh God, Radical Heights.
Oh God, Radical Heights. That game had something going for it too.
Yeah, BMX bikes.
Yeah, BMX bikes, which are A, rad, and B, radical. Yeah, man. Remember Lawbreakers?
No.
Vaguely.
That was the game that like
that game was kind of cool.
That studio put out and then was like, oh, I guess we need to crank out a battle royale real quick.
Yeah.
Just fucking brutal.
Mm-hmm.
Just fucking brutal.
It really is.
I really feel for the team that worked on PlanetSide Arena, the players that like PlanetSide, like just all around. It's like, holy shit, this is just fucked up. And that's it for news.
What genres are faster to fizzle, like battle royales or MMOs?
I feel like MMOs have matured to a point where the only people really taking a stab at it are coming with funding and
Sure.
like are usually you're putting enough out there to keep going.
Mm-hmm.
Also,
there was
MMOs
definitely an era of MMOs where it was like fucking up and down, like, oh, well, this one's not going to hit, so whatever.
Yeah. A lot of MMOs are subscription based too, which is a little more guaranteed funding than like a battle royale, which might have a battle pass as a thing, or might have a one-time buy-in.
Or cosmetics.
Or cosmetics.
Yeah. PlanetSide Arena had loot boxes that would get you skins for whatever loadout items you could equip.
I would say battle royale just because the barrier to entry, you know, is very low, and to sustain that you need to sell an awful lot of skins or whatever in order to keep people around.
It seems low.
I think that's a harder sale.
It seems like a lot of people tried it, and I wonder if PlanetSide will end up being kind of like the last one to try it at this scale.
And yeah, I was going to say these are huge. Like another problem inherent with the battle royale genre is these are often 100-man matches, and so you need to fill those up quick.
If you can't fill that game quickly, then who's going to wait around?
Yeah, shit's risky. Fuck.
And, you know, it seems like Modern Warfare is going to get a battle royale mode any day now. I don't mean to say that no one can make a battle royale ever again, but I think that like the stakes are such that era of let's put out a free-to-play BR on Steam real quick and see if we can Ring of Elysium it up. Like Ring of Elysium feels like the last one that like, I don't even know. I don't know what their financials look like, but that game seemed like it enjoyed some modicum, some like middling amount of success to where it felt like people were talking about it for at least a little while.
I mean, even
if they were talking about it in terms of like, I think this has Chinese malware in it, but
even we're seeing it with Fortnite. Like, it's still the biggest game in the world, but like I was reading an article about kind of where it is now versus where it was last December, where people were like buying console bundles for Fortnite and stuff, and then just like, it's kind of like, I mean, the Star Wars event seemed to be huge for them, but like, even that is not the golden goose that everyone kind of...
Well, you know, the story you always hear also is that Fortnite isn't even, like, that PUBG is still technically bigger worldwide. That, like, PUBG is gigantic in India, and if you incorporate mobile also, that, like, PUBG is still kind of breaking it in at a rate faster than Fortnite is. But, and then I think Apex carved out a really solid lane for itself.
Totally.
And then there was the Black Ops blackout mode, which kind of came and went, but didn't. It wasn't bad, like, but it kind of came and went.
Tetris 99.
Yeah. Forza Horizon launched theirs this week.
Yeah.
So yeah, I wonder, like, do you think that we will see? What do you think is next in the battle royale space? Do you think that there's like some player out there waiting with like a huge amount of money, and they're going to do try to do the Apex thing of launch their game and make it a big deal?
I think if you're coming out with a new one, it has to have something that sets it apart or like advances the genre. You know, like something like this is a battle royale, not like battle royales. It's still like is that same feeling of a battle royale, or like it still has the 100 people or whatever, but like, you know, advance it in some way.
Right. But I wonder, like, do you think, and of course, I guess the answer is always yes, because someone could always do it. But do you think it's realistic to think that someone comes along and becomes the new king of this genre? Do you think anything comes along?
If trend, you know, if it stays in trend, like, it's going to be somebody who already has a parachute, you know, like Call of Duty, Blackout, or Blackout had, you know, Call of Duty, you know, Fortnite.
Right, like piggybacking off of an existing thing.
But to go out there just like head first, we haven't seen much success in that space.
Yeah, I feel like Apex, it's funny because I would have said this pre-Apex, I would have said this about Fortnite, is that it feels like the door is shut now for someone trying to reach that scale that even Apex did, you know, like forget about Fortnite and PUBG, like to reach that level, it feels like, man, I don't know how anyone does that. And I feel like if they are, it's pushing the genre forward, it would be the thing, because I think the minute you're doing your own spin on it, like, hey, we were in cars, which, you know, people tried that, or hey, we're a sword based one, you know, like whatever it is, or the magic, you know, the spell casting one.
Yeah. There's that, you know, spell forge or whatever.
Like those seem like diversions, and they also seem like things that if they took off would be Fortnite modes 2 weeks later.
Right.
Like they've got lightsabers right now.
Sure. You need something that's fundamental, like that is. I mean, okay, if you're trying to make the next Fortnite, the next PUBG, whatever, the next big thing, you need to either attract a brand new audience or siphon away existing.
I mean, ideally both.
But ideally both. But like, kind of your sights should be on one of the two, I guess, at the top level, and then work your way up the other end. And if you're going to if it's siphoning players away, you need to offer something that's different. And if it's reaching a new audience, like, I mean, that one's tough because like everyone knows what Fortnite is.
Right. Like increasingly players have made that decision if they want to play that style of game or not. And some of them are now getting that same vibe in alternate forms. Like you have like the Forza stuff or Tetris 99 where you got like, oh, you're getting like some like version of that like big multiplayer intense beating heart of like, oh, I'm down to the last 3, like that vibe, but with less investment or less shooting or whatever your particular flavor of it needs to be for it to work for you.
Right.
And Yeah, I wonder.
Jeff, I'm starting to think I don't think I can penetrate this market.
Yeah, this market might be impenetrable unless Overwatch 3 is a battle royale game.
We don't even know what Overwatch 2 is quite yet, but we do know Overwatch 3.
Right, yeah. Which I was thinking about it yesterday. I guess Apex kind of is it's the Overwatch of battle royale games. I mean, it's a character-based shooter, ability-based, like all that other stuff. Like that's that game. All right. Why don't we take one more break and we'll come back and get into some games we've been playing. No, you know what? How you guys doing?
I'm doing
let's just
great.
Let's just stay here.
I booted up Monster Hunter last night.
Oh, yeah.
Just for the hell of it.
On the personal
just because
computer?
I'm fun. Yeah, on the personal computer. Just because.
They put out the Helper armor on PC, right?
Yeah.
But
I've got one last hump to get over to finish off the storyline stuff. I've just been doing side shit for the most part. So I strapped that stuff on and I'm going. I'm going to be ready for Iceborne once it comes out. January 9th or something.
It sounded like you said ice porn right there.
Ice porn and strap-ons.
I was like, I know what Ice Frog is, but I don't...
It was a good night.
But ice porn? Now
it was nice hopping back into that, especially being able to put progress into my main, because that's where I want to stay. It was nice having the 60 frames per second. And it was nice not having to play games for like end of the year stuff, I'm just like, I just want to go back to something that's my touchstone. That's something that makes me happy. Not that other games don't, but
that's the only
when you got to play them.
The only one left.
That's the only one left. Yeah. It might be.
Yeah.
That's where I'm at. That's
nice.
Yeah.
Ben, anything? What have you been into?
I've been kind of going back to a couple modern classics on my Switch. First, I've been getting really into Dead Cells again. After seeing Rory play it, that one ETF, I re-downloaded it.
I installed it after that. I haven't actually played it,
and I hadn't played since like vanilla Dead Cells. I didn't play much past the first. I played like a little bit of that first big patch. But going back to it, it just felt so right. Like I immediately was back into it. Playing again from scratch is kind of a bummer because I lost my save. So I'm unlocking everything again for the first time. But like going back to that game has had a lot of work done to it in the last year and a half, 2 years. A few huge patches, a lot of little patches, but it really speaks to the strength of that game that like, aside from a couple obvious things, like they kind of redesigned how mini bosses or elite units work. They kind of gave them some special things to make them more powerful. There's like the explorer's instinct where if you explore 90% of a level, it's going to reveal that last 10% for you. So you don't have to just run around looking for the one path you missed. Like there's a few things like that kind of stand out as immediate changes, but I had to like go back and look and just read what they have changed because it just feels good again. Like it feels like it's not like I'm picking up this game and being like, oh God, what are they? I can't even. This thing doesn't work. The strat doesn't work anymore. No, it's just like, hey, they've been tuning it and tweaking it, adjusting difficulty, adjusting viability of weapons, kind of changing up. Like, okay, we're gonna make cursed chests less frequent but more deadly when they appear and stuff like that. Of just like, man, this is such a solid game. Like they really did a good job with this thing, and the continued support is nice. Got that DLC, Rise of the Giants.
Sounds right. Yeah.
Yeah, that's early next year, right? Or is it out?
It's out.
Oh, it is out. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And I haven't gotten too far with that, but yeah, man, that game's great. And then the other thing I've been playing through is a little bit of Shovel Knight.
Yeah, they put out
two things,
dude. I've no idea what Shovel Knight even
I just figured all this out
because they sent out a bunch of press releases saying like the final piece of Shovel Knight is finally out, and I was like, oh wait, was this like some Shenmue plan all along? Like the first Shovel Knight was just chapters 1 through 7, and now we got 8 through 19, and
no, in fact, they're all prequels.
Yeah, okay, all right, but they kind of announced this as like 6 games, or like they hit that many back rewards in the original Kickstarter. Is that what this?
So this is all part of Treasure Trove, so there was in the beginning there was Shovel Knight, and everyone who bought Shovel Knight before Treasure Trove got kind of grandfathered into it. Yeah. So like if you had it on, I had it on 3DS, or like whatever platform you had it on, you could keep getting these updates for free which is totally great. Now you can buy it standalone, like Treasure Trove for $40, which is what I did because I wanted it on Switch. And that has base Shovel Knight, and then
based Shovel Knight.
Based Shovel Knight, and 3 prequel games, each with a different character from the Shovel Knight franchise. There's one where you're the Plague Knight, and they're kind of remixes. So they're like full campaigns, but they remixed the levels so that, like, Shovel Knight's whole thing, if you remember the game Shovel Knight, was like bouncing on your shovel. There's a lot of like bouncing along, doing multi-hit, stuff like that. And so the levels
Which is not how a shovel works.
It's
when was the last time you used a shovel?
I don't really like
you can't. It's not. It is not a pogo stick. A shovel is not a pogo stick,
especially if you're wearing that heavy armor.
Exactly.
Well, he found out a way, and they kind of remixed those levels to make whatever the gimmick of the character is. So there's like the Plague Knight has kind of this homing air dash if there's an enemy in the air. So there's a lot more of like gaps and stuff. There's one for, I can't remember the third one because I haven't played that one at all. That was the most recent up until this last expansion, which added the King of Cards campaign. And you're playing as King Knight in a prequel before he's the king. What do they call him? He's still called King Knight.
What the fuck?
Because he knows he wants to be king. And he sort of branded himself as the king, except he has a bunch of little rats.
Dress for the job you want, not the job you have, I guess.
So he decides that he wants to become king by winning a card game tournament. So this one's quite different than the other ones they released because it still has that Shovel Knight campaign. There's still the overworld. There's still maps and bosses and all that. And his gimmick is he has like kind of this shoulder charge move that you can use to like climb up walls and stuff.
Okay, I thought that this was just 100% a card game.
No, it's kind of like a Gwent. It's like a Witcher 3 Gwent situation where there is this whole main game, but then also there is a lot. But it's a little more mandatory than Gwent. You kind of have to progress through.
Mandatory Gwent.
You've been sentenced to 6 years of mandatory Gwent. And it's so the game itself, I forgot the name of it, but it's pretty cool. It's like deceptively complex. It's a little game where there's like a 3x3 or a 4x4 grid with some gems on there, and you have a deck with 16 cards, and all the cards do is they have arrows on them. And the goal of the game is to collect the most gems. If you get more gems than your opponent, you win. And you take turns placing cards on the battlefield.
So this is more like a putt-putt or Fatty Bear's Fun Pack style of card game than like a deck
than like
builder
a Hearthstone or something like that. Yeah, but well, I mean, no, because I'll get to it. You do craft a deck, like there is building.
Okay.
So all that's on the cards themselves are arrows, and the arrows dictate which way they can push other cards. So you can't put your card right on top of a gem, but you can push somebody's other card onto a gem. And so they have like up, down, left, right arrows. But then there's things of like, if I have a card with a left arrow, I can't push it right. Or like you can't have arrows push into each other. So it creates this layer of strategy that immediately I was like, oh, this seems kind of simple. But like, you build a deck and all the cards have different arrows, and there's like double arrows, which can overpower single arrows. And then there's like an additional layer of you can buy cheats, which will do stuff to the battlefield. And like bosses have abilities, like you fight the Black Knight early on, and he can kind of clear out a whole row of cards. And the coolest part about it is there are real stakes to it where, the winner gets to pluck one of the cards off of the battlefield and keep it for their deck. And that can happen to you. You can just get your cards just jacked if you lose a game, including like rare cards.
Wow.
So there is like, they kind of want you to really use strategy and play through. And like, man, it's really cool that they've been just supporting the shit out of this game, even if all the stuff isn't a great hit like the other mode they added, which is their Showdown, I want to say it's called.
Okay.
Shovel Knight Showdown.
So they go back and then they made a platform fighting game, and now they're pulling other indie games into it. They're like, now you all have to be in Shovel Knight's game.
Well, now they made their own platform fighter to put Shovel Knight and all Shovel Knight's friends in. But
so they didn't go pull in. I feel like that should have been like the deal is like, oh, we'll let you put Shovel Knight into your game, but when we get to our we're gonna come knocking, and you got to let us put
you'll owe us
all your idiots.
Put Absa from Rivals of Aether in it. No, I mean, like it's Do you remember how Shovel Knight had that Street Pass thing where you could?
I do not.
Anyone play Shovel Knight on the 3DS?
I'm trying to remember this feature.
So it had like a Street Pass thing where you could it would be like an arena with some gems on it, and you could program your Shovel Knight to like move around and attack, and then like it would get matched up against other people's programmed Shovel Knights, and they would like fight each other, and whoever got more gems would win.
Okay,
that's how it worked. This is kind of a more active version of that, where it's like a coin battle from Smash, where you're kind of the goal isn't necessarily to knock out your opponent; it is to collect the most gems. I played with a friend, some couch co-op of it. It seems all right. Nothing to write home about, you know, just very standard. Like, if you love Shovel Knight and you're friends with some other people who love Shovel Knights and love those Shovel Knight mechanics, it's got all that in there. It's got all the bosses from Shovel Knight. They all have their own unique movesets. They put a lot of work into it. Cool. They did not phone it in. They could have easily phoned it in. It just doesn't seem like it's gonna, you know, have an esports scene or like that competitive of an audience. There's no online play from what I saw. It's really just like,
here's a cool thing.
Here's a cool thing.
You can do it if you
close
want.
it out.
Yeah.
To close out the end of Shovel Knight.
So how many games do you think make their way into Shovel Knight 2? Like 12. It's got to be like 15 games.
I think it will be the truest live service, and it will continue on for the rest of time.
Oh God.
That sounds a lot like Triple Triad in Final Fantasy VIII.
Yeah.
The style of the card stuff.
Yeah.
Putting on to like a grid and then pushing others out of the way.
I'm just going to nod my head.
Yes.
It does sound like that, Jan.
Thank you.
Now that's Gwent. No, I don't. Jan, what are you doing with your time these days?
Oh boy, we did a episode of Pokemon Monday Night Combat last week.
Yeah.
The online stuff still super fucking clunky. It's the biggest fucking disappointment.
Has the game been patched at all? Have you seen any updates?
No, not that I can tell. Yeah. They will be implementing the VGC 2020 rules come January. So that's going to make certain Pokemon legal for tournament play.
Okay.
Just been doing a lot of competitive with that and like futzing around with some team comps, trying to, I kind of want to enter in a tournament, see how well I can do or how poorly I can do.
So is that rule set pretty much the gold standard? I saw something yesterday, just like scrolled past. I forget what it was, but it was, some other ruling body with their own scene saying like, hey, we're banning Dynamaxing, I think it was.
Smogon is banning Dynamaxing, but that is for 1v1 matches. But I am trying to just train or get used to the VGC rule set, which is 2v2, bring in 4, and that is allowing Gigantamaxing and Dynamaxing. Not for every single Gigantamaxed form just yet.
Okay.
But yeah, it's been a lot to get control over or wrap my head around, especially since I had like gone so deep into Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee, which is very simple compared to everything that's coming into here. And I don't know, I'm having decent success going against randoms, but whenever I try and go ranked with my dumb team that I've made, I get completely demolished. I don't know, I feel like I'm noticing patterns and stuff and picking up some stuff. I'm trying to not do what I did last week on the show, which was fly too close to the sun with my hubris and be completely demolished. But yeah, it's fun doing 2v2 versus the 1v1, which I've been used to, because the 2v2 games tend to just go by much faster.
Yeah, we were blazing through those.
Yeah.
It was really cool watching you do that stuff, like as somebody who with no knowledge of competitive Pokemon. Like my Pokemon experience is, what kind of gym am I about to go to?
Right. Yeah.
Let me stack my team with people who are going to be effective against it.
Let's be super over level.
Yeah.
Let's have all attacking moves on a Pokemon.
Yep. But then like beyond that, beyond like a well-balanced team and stuff, just like learning about specific types of strategies and stuff. Like you had that one that was like, this move, I partnered this guy with a ghost Pokemon because this move would normally hit my allies, but it doesn't affect like ghosts or, the slow Pokemon. I forget the name of that move. Trick Room stuff. Like it really sounds like a card game, like coming up with a core strategy for your play style. Like that was really cool seeing that.
Yeah,
in
100%. It's been neat seeing also the people I've been going against, seeing what team comps have been more popular than others, and it seems like the skew so far is that for the first couple weeks of the game being out, Dracovish, which was like this monstrosity of a Pokemon, dominating the ladder.
Is that the thing with the fish head? And
Yes.
But now they've got
They all washed up
anti-Dracofish
in LA.
tech.
Yeah,
right?
totally. You'll see Gastrodons in every single team because Gastrodon
They're
will
a hard
fucking
counter.
demolish. It's a hard counter to Dracovish. But now you'll see fucking Luke. You would see Lucario beat up teams, but now that's getting thrown out the window. You were seeing Obstagoon teams, but now all you're seeing is Duraludon demolishing Trick Room teams because fucking Max Wormwood and Duraludon's abilities breaking through Follow Me, and that's been my fucking go-to trying to make a Butterfree team work, guys.
Max Wormwood. Is he popular in the scene?
Oh yeah, Max Wormwood.
Is he on YouTube?
He's on YouTube. Put on the strats. Kind of skeezy though.
I want you to be a Butterfree loyalist.
Dude,
Like character specialist.
I'll roll up to a
I want to see
tournament
the
with
highest level
wings.
Butterfree play.
It'll be like that episode of the anime. I'm gonna cry when you win.
There's a community online that hosts tournaments every Sunday, and I kind of want to get in on that. I know I'm going to do poorly, but hey, let's see.
And nobody rolls into their
there.
first tournament and like doesn't go 0-2, right?
I want to go all the way.
That's the song. I want to go all the way. It's something just Butterfree.
The very
Yeah,
best.
the whole thing. Fortnite
How about you,
raps.
Jeff? I was going to say,
I'm over
Jan.
here.
I'm literally looking
Yeah.
at you.
Well, I'm way into my banana shirts, and that's going great. I played some Boneworks. Boneworks. It's fun to say.
It's fun to say. It's fun to think about.
It's
Thinking about like a skeleton doing it. Fun.
How well does it work?
It works all right. It is a virtual reality product available on Steam, and it feels like the story so far type of thing in terms of like, hey, you've done a lot of shit in VR over the last couple of years, 3 years, however long it's been since the Rift and Vive came out. And like it even says when you first launch it, like you should be pretty familiar with what the fuck VR is by the time you get to this, because it's a very physics-based sort of thing. And I'm playing through the story mode. It's got a sandbox mode. I'm not even sure what that does, but I put about an hour into it. And it's kind of a physics, like you're kind of going through and doing all the different things you can do in VR. Like eventually there are guns later on. I haven't gotten to that point yet, but so far it's been some light puzzle solving and also just getting used to the environment and doing like, I can grab onto this wall and hand over hand climb over here. And then I need to put something on this button to open this door. And then I need to lower this elevator and pull this thing out to latch the elevator into place to block it from going up without me, so that I can put something on the elevator or get it out of the way so I can move forward and all this other stuff. So it's very simple puzzles so far, but they're all like physics based, and it's kind of interesting in a Half-Life and Portal sort of way. I mean, the game literally has crowbars in it right out of the gate, and the way it handles object holding is relatively realistic in that where you're holding it, you'll swing it differently. You can hold things with both hands to get a little more sturdy shots with your sledgehammer or whatever you're using at the time. And it, like I said, it feels like someone looked at like all the different types of movement and actions that have happened in VR so far and said, we're going to kind of put on this is the graduation ceremony for that.
Right.
If you've played all those games, you're ready for this sort of thing. And that's kind of how they present it, I think, in a sense.
Good for you. You made it.
Yeah. So I made it through the first floor of that, and it's like, okay, now it's going to get a little more challenging. And I'm like, I feel super fucking sick because I haven't done much VR in the last year. So I'm going to stop. And I heated up a lot. Like I used to not get sick at all in VR, but
Yeah.
I was like, whew, okay, I need to just finish this level and then stop right fucking here.
How
right
are
fucking
you
now.
moving around?
It actually recommends you play seated, which I found the movement to be really interesting. It is free movement. It is not teleport movement. At least by default, you might be able to. I don't think you can do teleport movement. It does do snap turning. if you want that, but those are adjustments you can make. You look down and see your feet, and if you hold down, like you use the right stick. So I'm playing this on Oculus Quest, or I'm playing it on PC through the Oculus Link on an Oculus Quest, which actually worked out well, except for the process of enabling the still in beta Oculus Link stuff is like a fucking pain in the ass. Updating the firmware in the Oculus Quest is a more arcane process than it should be, because it involves you hitting the check for updates button and then seeing a thing saying it's downloading, and then it spins forever. And then I'm like, okay, now what? And it turns out I think I needed to just reboot the headset. It doesn't tell you to do that, but on reboot, it's like did a very clear firmware update process, and then it worked again. Anyway, so you use the right stick to crouch, like you push down on the right stick to crouch down, and that you can obviously, if you're standing up and just playing, you can just crouch, but it makes playing seated, which again, that's how they recommend you play it, is sitting down. It makes all that stuff work, because you need to be able to crouch down to pick up a fucking crowbar, or, like stuff off the ground.
Oh, sure.
Or whatever. There are some objects that actually they kind of fudge it for you and let you just reach out with your hand, and you can just kind of force grab stuff from a greater, or from a pretty decent range.
That's good.
Yeah, it seems like a very convenient thing. But people have been raving about it and trying it out. Like I do want to get back to it and kind of see what the sandbox stuff is, and because it really just seems like they just made a big physics playground and then built some puzzles around those physics, which, like, in a sense, that's sort of what Half-Life 2 was in some ways. So it's interesting seeing that. It does have kind of a story to it that is... It's Portal-like in some ways, where they're trying to do like funny experiment type stuff, but it's more like you moving through a museum and that sort of stuff, at least early on. So it's fascinating, and it really does make use of a lot of the different things that you've done a lot of in VR, in terms of just like, okay, I need to be able to pick up this object, I need to be able to interact with this and hand it off to this other hand, and then I need to bash this glass to do this, and now we're jumping up and I'm jumping on a seesaw that's making a door open, like little...
It seems like that stuff is like seamless in a way that, that they don't need a tutorial so much.
That's
like,
the idea, yeah.
Right.
I mean, like what I'm going through is kind of the tutorial, because it's like, hey, you can crouch, or hey, here's how to crouch, because like that's stuff that's a little unique to it. But they do say like, yeah, throw shit. You know how to do that.
Cool.
You know how to hold, you know how to grab an object in VR by now if you're playing this game.
Yeah.
And if not, they will, they do remind you. But generally speaking, it's kind of taking what has become the standards for movement and interaction in VR and just building a game around physics around those standards.
Neat.
And it's really neat. So yeah, I'll spend some more time with that. Also, I've played a little bit more of MechWarrior 5. I still have not dipped into the campaign. But I've just been
doing skirmishes.
Going into instant action and stomping around and shooting the shit out of shit. And just seeing all the different mechs that are in there and stuff, and like, man, yeah, there's something here.
Yeah,
I don't know. It's not gonna. I'm not gonna like obsessively get into it the way I got into MechWarrior 2. I think because it was just a different time, and that was a different era.
Yeah.
And MechWarrior 2 was amazing at the time.
Fucking A.
But it's still cool that MechWarrior 5 exists.
Yeah.
Like it came out. I'm like, oh, that's cool.
There was something about the way the movement, like just moving around in that mech, was very nostalgic.
Yeah,
totally.
Like I'm gonna twist this torso and do all this stuff.
That's some good, like in cockpit Bob.
Yeah,
that was pretty all right.
All right, well, we're gonna take another quick break here and go check in with our good friend in cockpit Bob and see how he's doing, and then we'll come back with your emails after this. So I gave my Stadia name out on the podcast a couple weeks ago, or whenever that was relevant.
Yeah.
Remember Stadia?
Yeah.
Was that this year?
Barely.
That was this year. And so I got about somewhere around 40 or 50 friend requests, and I just accepted all of them.
Okay.
Wonderful.
And so that's been my new test bed for are people using Stadia, as I just kind of check it. Maybe not once a day, but like every other day, and check it like 2 or 3 times.
Yeah.
Today, right now, is the first time I have seen more than one person actively playing a video game on my friends list.
Look at that.
What are they playing?
Destiny 2, both
Okay,
of them.
yeah.
It has almost always been Destiny 2.
Sure.
Last night, I saw someone playing the Tomb Raider game that was given out for free.
Right.
Oh, okay.
But that is the one time I've seen it not be Destiny 2. Or just people being listed as online and not showing a game being played, which I guess could be a privacy setting. Maybe they're playing Farming Simulator. Who can say?
Right. I got an email the other day offering me another buddy pass, a second buddy pass.
Yeah, I sent one to Brad, and then it still is active. I think I have another buddy pass. So
You really want it?
I thought we were buddies.
Well, that's the thing is like I don't know if I want to.
You don't want to actually give it to a buddy.
Right.
You don't want to put that on
Make them
that.
pay $10 more for
Yeah.
Darksiders.
So they're putting out Ghost Recon Breakpoint, I believe, this week, and that'll be the first one that has the
Oh, sure.
that whole but which is like, okay, now we have to jump through some hoops here because if you're playing co-op in that game,
Yes.
which already, sorry,
Some people do.
maybe we'll see. Well, no, if you're playing that game, which has already been reviewed and is been pretty widely panned,
Yes.
and is I will tell you, not a great game. So if you can get over that hurdle, if you are a Stadia user, if you can get over that hurdle,
This Venn diagram is shrinking in the
if
middle.
you can drum up 3 other people who also are willing to buy this game on Stadia. And then you can all get online at the same time.
Yeah.
You can see their video. You can see their feeds in video windows, apparently, around your gameplay or over your gameplay. I don't know what
Great over my gameplay.
I am dying to see what this implementation looks like for real.
I think we're the only people on the planet who could make that happen.
I really want to know because if you it will be the first time that there's been anything on Stadia other than Guilt, which is not a great game.
I thought you meant
That is
Remorse.
unique.
No, not Remorse. That's
Okay.
a whole separate thing. It'll be the first time that there's been like, hey, here's a version of this game that does something that other versions can't do.
Yep.
Or are not doing, actually, I guess I should say.
Have they talked at all about that guide integration? Like when that's supposed to
The Google
when that's
Assistant
supposed to roll
stuff is
out?
not in yet. That's, I think, what they've said about it. I think a lot of the questions about Stadia get answered with like, that'll be in next year. So that'll be in next year.
Okay.
So yeah, I think Breakpoint is out tomorrow. Yeah, it's out tomorrow. So I wonder if anyone will care. Like when you launch Destiny, you see other players, but I still check in on Mortal Kombat, a game that is not free, and I have found exactly one other person. Since I found one person the first minute I got Stadia up and running. We found Jeff Grubb out there playing Mortal Kombat, and we played. And then since that review phase, not a soul until I found one other person, and
one lonely person.
I beat him twice.
You scared them off.
I went into ranked twice and got matched with the same person twice. And
they rage quit.
And that was it.
Or the connection dropped. We'll never know.
We'll never know. What a thing.
Stadia.
What a thing. I want to go back. I saw people had some things to say about these. There was like a Stadia ad that I guess that ran during the Game Awards that I just saw. And maybe, I don't know if this was just people repeating one joke or if everyone came to the same conclusion. But I just saw the words "Ouya" used a whole lot in conjunction with what that Stadia ad looked like. So,
Are you sure they weren't saying "booyah"?
They have a Teen Titans game?
yeah.
It's just that Flash game.
Hell yeah.
You have to pay $10 more to play it though.
Yeah, that does sound nice. Also, yeah, I guess on the Stadia stuff, I was looking at chat a minute ago, and let me look. I think I have this email here. The version of Borderlands 3 that is coming to Stadia is not in sync with the latest
Patch. Wow. Why not? I don't what.
At launch, the Stadia version of the game will reflect all updates and fixes that were released through October 24th.
That's like 2 months.
Yeah, and they've been doing some live events and stuff, I
Yeah.
think. So I don't know how much content that is or how much patchwork that is
Right.
or how much that actually matters, but they did specify, 2K specified that in their...
But like Stadia needs to be wowing people. It needs to be like proving that you should buy the thing on here, and they're just consistently doing the opposite. They're just consistently giving you excuses of why you should not buy it on there.
Yeah. They're not doing a good job.
No.
Let's get into some emails.
Oh,
Bombcast at giantbomb.com is the email address. Giant Bomb, real name, no gimmicks. Here we go. Bobby from London writes in.
Oi.
And
yeah,
we talked about Brian Harvey of East 17 and his jacket potato adventures.
oh yes,
That was last week, right?
yep.
Yeah.
You were not here last week. Okay.
Ben, what do you think a jacket potato
What do you
is?
think a jacket potato is?
It's not anything
Do I
dirty.
get any more context?
No.
It's edible.
It's not dirty. It's not anything
It's like a
funky.
portable. It's like a conversation starter at a party. You bring it with you. You have it sticking out of your jacket
yeah.
pocket. And
Yep.
people are like, "Is that a potato?" And you're like, "Yeah, I just gotta bring a snack with me." And you take a big old bite out of it.
See, that would be a party thing. You'd be fucking nuts.
Yeah.
People would
Potato
put a
guy.
fucking banana. You might just have a banana from earlier.
I don't think I'd invite potato pocket guy.
No, probably not.
again.
Yeah.
To be frank,
It depends on the kind of party.
Well, especially if he's like, no, this is a jacket potato.
right?
Okay, what
right.
if he's just like has a bag full of the small red ones and he's just popping those?
No. I'm not letting him into my house.
Okay.
What if he brings a potato and then makes mashed potatoes out of it in your kitchen and then said, if I had known this was going to be this type of party, I would stick my dick in the mashed potatoes, and then does it?
Just does it right there.
It's
Because oftentimes you want to say that classic line,
yeah.
but most parties do not have mashed potatoes.
Yeah. It's
So
like Thanksgiving is really the only
Yeah.
opportunity, and I don't want to do that there.
There was a whole spree of parties where at 1 a.m. specifically, a friend and I would make food for everyone,
nice.
and it'd be dangerous because inebriated out of our minds. One time we accidentally made mashed potatoes.
That happens.
Accidentally.
Whoops, we made mashed potatoes.
Yeah.
Oops, all
Yeah.
mashed.
It's supposed to be French fries. Too mushy. Made them into mashed potatoes. No one took their pants off and put their dingling inside.
Okay.
though.
All right.
So
Well,
potato guy might invite him over just for that.
okay. Potato guy, if you're out there.
Boy bands though.
Boy bands. So this is
What's a jacket potato?
Oh, it's a baked
it's
potato.
a baked potato.
Okay.
You put stuff in it like beans.
Okay.
Seems like beans is the
What?
baked beans. It's the UK.
Yeah.
It's like a beans on toast nation. You know.
Yeah.
Some.
I mean,
grime.
I'm all for experimenting with your baked potato, but beans.
experimental baked potatoes.
Yeah.
That's just carbs and carbs.
So.
I mean, that's fine. I'll eat that, but like, get weird with it. Put curry in there.
Well, yeah. It's not just beans. It's
Okay.
like, hey, beans and bacon, or it's this and that. You know, it's like, hey, what's but a lot of people. A lot of people wrote in about jacket potatoes and what they like to put on them, and beans was just the one that came up the most.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Interesting.
2, a lot of people wrote in about Brian Harvey of East 17, linking to a lot of videos and a lot of other stuff. And I'm going to read
good.
this email and also say that it seems clear that Brian Harvey has some stuff going on, and we hope that he gets
The help he needs. Okay.
And now let's get into this email. I'm an American expat in London, and I've actually been living in East 17 since 2013, pre-extreme gentrification. Brian Harvey lives a few roads away from me, and the spot where he ran himself over during the legendary potato incident. Oh, by the way, this guy was in a boy band. Ben, I'll catch you up on this. I don't know if you were here for this. This guy was in a boy band, and he somehow ran himself over with his own car while eating a baked potato.
A jacket potato.
Okay.
As you do.
Impressive.
You're caught up.
Smashed his pelvis, by the way.
Oh, yes. Also, yes.
His
That-
baked potato.
Mm-hmm. And the spot where he ran himself over during the legendary potato incident is a short walk away, too. 5 years ago, my girlfriend and her sister left a tiny potato shrine at that spot in tribute. Harvey was kicked out of East 17 in 1997 during a radio interview, talking about how his favorite thing to do is ecstasy. He's been a local character ever since, who seems to be in the midst of a 2-decade breakdown. Harvey was a fixture on David Ickey's YouTube channel for a while, but the two had some sort of falling out as evidenced by the line, "David Ickey, your films are phony," in this bizarre music video he filmed in his back garden in 2014. Harvey can frequently be seen banging on the gates of Downing Street, complaining that the government is gang stalking him.
Oh boy!
And you can often, there's a YouTube video of him. He can often like angry about taxes. Angry about taxes.
Until you got to that, I was gonna say, kind of sounds like a Tom DeLonge type.
I think there might be some element of that, but maybe not aliens, but something. And he can often be seen on our turf, obliging or being taken advantage of by no-budget YouTube pranksters filming potato-based comedy shorts.
Oh, boy.
Yeah. His own YouTube channel is a constantly updated rabbit hole of conspiracy theory videos. Here he is doing a potato-based cover of the Meridian Dan hit German Whip. And then there was I don't think there was actually a link in the video.
Man.
But on a less depressing note, he was asked to leave the 2004 season of the reality show I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here after farting in the face of TV journalist Janet Street Porter.
How is that less depressing?
I don't know. Harvey's a fascinating character, but I hope he gets the help he needs. Bobby, we are in agreement on that. I started to go down a rabbit hole of watching a bunch of videos of him holding up we sold 1 million copies of this record plaque thing, and I think he was going to go run over it with a car. I turned off the video before it got to that point.
Good Lord.
Deep hole there. If you want to spend a couple of hours,
nice afternoon.
perusing the internet, that is something you could do. Christopher from Portland with a question.
Hi.
Do you think backwards compatible games will play better on the PlayStation 5? Xbox has done some work with their back compat games to make them 4K or play better, I think. So will PlayStation do the same? Will we get Bloodborne and God of War at 60 frames per second? Just a boost mode that unlocks things like the Pro does now? Just straight ports with no changes? I think that'll, my answer is I think that will depend on the game.
Yeah.
Yeah, like Sony first party stuff, you can maybe picture them.
Well,
Sure.
It becomes a matter of do they want to do work to make the games better? Some games need to be, with the way they're coded, if you suddenly said here's more power, double the frame rate, it breaks the physics. You think back to that Dark Souls mod. Was it Dark Souls 1 mod for PC? Is that what that was? That DS Fix. They're you could make it run. You could make it run at all this different frame rate stuff, but while that's active, some physics break, so you might not be able to jump over a gap or just because the physics were tied to the frame rate.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to say some Rockstar games have had similar things like that in the past. Anyway,
Okay.
different games are coded differently, and if you throw more power at them, it might break a bunch of shit.
Exactly.
So it's not as simple as here's more power, go. But games that support things like dynamic resolution, where it's different parts of the scene are going to run at different resolutions depending on what's on screen at any given time. Games with uneven frame rates, that stuff seems like it will smooth.
Yeah.
It can smooth out with a boost mode or whatever. Just hey, if it can take advantage of that additional power, then more frequently it will run at a higher frame rate. We saw some of that stuff with the PS4 Pro and the Xbox One X.
What about just stuff like load times and?
I mean, if you're installing those games to an SSD on a system that is built to take advantage of that SSD, I would presume you would get at least some benefit from that. But again, it depends on how the game is built. Was built originally, how well it can take advantage of that stuff. So I think the short answer will be yes, that will happen sometimes, but don't count on it for 100% of your games.
Right.
Yeah. Jack from DC. Okay, Ben, I'll fill you in on this other one here.
Please.
I had to search the internet for a Duke Nukem animated GIFs.
Okay.
And when I typed that into Bing, I'm going to say 30 to 50% of the results were pornography.
Oh yeah. I mean, you went to Bing.
I went to Bing.
Yeah.
The search engine for perverts like myself.
Perverts and people who want Xbox rewards.
Same.
Which is
It's
that Venn diagram is a circle.
Pow. Yeah. I'm spending those Xbox rewards on Starbucks
Premium
gift cards.
Snapchat. Okay. Yeah.
Solitaire skins.
That I'm then using those Starbucks codes and turning them into premium Snapchat.
Yeah, sure.
Of course.
You don't want a direct link.
No.
A to B to
and
C.
a lot of the people with premium Snapchats don't want Xbox reward points. They want like a Best Buy gift card. So yeah. Bing's great for that. Anyway, Jack from DC writes in, on last week's Bombcast, Jeff talked about how some unusual Bing results when looking for Duke Nukem gifts. Jeff speculated that Duke Nukem might have become a euphemism for oral sex. Or maybe that searching anything plus GIF turns up porn on Bing. I was intrigued, so I decided to investigate.
Thank you.
I was
Jack.
intrigued.
Yeah, Jack out there doing the research that other people refused to do, and God bless him for it. Duke Nukem Forever came out in 2011, so I pulled up Giant Bomb's 2011 Game of the Year list and, using Bing, searched every combination of video game title plus GIF. For reference, the 2011 list was Rayman, LA Noire, Gears 3, Batman Arkham City, Witcher 2, Dead Space 2, Portal 2, Bastion, Saints Row, and Skyrim. Literally every single game title plus GIF search returned porn. I wasn't really surprised by what I saw when searching for Skyrim GIF and Saints Row GIF, but I was not prepared for the results of Bastion GIF. I don't even need to go to the second page of research results to find this stuff. It was all right there on page 1. This led me to suspect, as Jeff had, that searching for literally anything plus GIF on Bing returns porn. To this, I attached GIF to a bunch of random objects I saw in my apartment and searched Bing. Diploma GIF is clean, but kitchen table, box fan, PlayStation 1 controller, and can of compressed air plus GIF all return not safe for work results.
What's a box fan? I mean, I know what a box fan is, but that's
You got to cool off and stuff gets steamy.
Okay.
Give her the box fan.
Yeah.
Well, I don't think he's saying that any of the porn is specific to the results.
Okay.
It's just that if you search for almost anything on Bing and write the word GIF.
Gotcha.
I wrote the word animated GIF in there.
Right.
When I searched for Duke Nukem animated GIF specifically.
Jack has to go back and
that's
try
your
this
kind of king.
whole method again.
Yeah. And then he closes out by saying, "What the fuck, Bing?
No shit.
Bing knows what you want before you do."
I've
So
thought
is
about
this
this.
with safe search on or
No,
off?
this is
It's off,
this
right.
is almost.
I thought
Yeah.
about this before, and my best guess is that Google filters it a little bit, and people are way more aggressive with porn in terms of like tagging and all that stuff. Like,
Sure. Yeah.
yeah.
But Bing has always been with safe search turned off. I'll say I don't mean to imply that like Bing is doing anything untoward here. You have to tell it, show me all of the internet, and the minute you say that to anyone ever, you're inviting a whole lot of things.
There's a lot
into
of porn
your
on
world.
on the line.
Yeah, and that's how I like it.
Box fan porn.
Compressed air porn?
Oh yeah,
Oh, yeah.
yeah. Have you never?
Oh, I'm thinking about the implications now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's not. You don't.
Ah.
No one needs that. Justin in Maryland writes in and says, was wondering if you heard about the crossplay for Mortal Kombat 11 for PS4 and Xbox. Yes.
Yes, have heard of that. And I can't think of any other games that have done that, like in the fighting game sense, of course.
Yeah, I mean, Street Fighter 5, you can play PC and PS4.
PC, yeah, PC.
You know,
Speaking of Street Fighter 5 real quick, you see any of that Capcom Cup?
I did,
stuff?
yeah, most of it. Yeah, that was.
I heard it was the shits. Kotaku had a pretty long article from someone who...
It was kind of rough, yeah. Like
Yeah.
they weren't. They streamed the like the pre-party instead of like the last chance qualifiers.
Yeah, it was literally people with backpacks and like phones streaming their last chance qualifiers.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was. Mistakes were made.
It sucks because
It sounds like that some partway through it, after getting a ton of lower third player names wrong, that they just stopped using graphics.
Oh.
I don't know about that. They were using pretty much all throughout. I can only think of one in particular, actually, to be honest.
Okay, there's a long Kotaku article breaking down I think the title of the article is Capcom Cup sucked.
That's
it was one of the most like unprofessional looking esports things that I've watched in a long time, which is a shame because the people who have been putting up with the shortcomings of Street Fighter 5 don't deserve to have a good turn, especially like even last year's Capcom Cup, which I didn't watch all of, was miles and miles beyond this.
There were some really good matches, if that's any indication. But then again, they did have the Pocky Challenge as like a halftime show, which was pretty ridiculous.
Yeah. with Pocky ads in the stage and stuff.
Well, that's just is,
I mean,
yeah,
that's
stuff is built right
integrated,
into
but
the
like
game.
this is the
Yeah.
full realization of that stuff that
Great.
they put in.
Yeah. Kenny Omega saved that segment, by the way. He saved that show, as far as I'm concerned.
Like there were, I did see some clips about like basically as soon as the matches ended, people just got thrown out of the venue. They're like,
Oh,
"All right,
yeah.
wrap it up, get out.
Yeah,
like
yeah,
a lot
yeah.
of people streaming that.
It's like you have like such a collection of people who don't get to travel and like
Yeah.
just the best players in the world all
Yeah.
together to play
they've
this game, and then just like
Well, yeah, they're
put
they're-
on by the publisher of said game.
I'm not trying to defend them by any means, but they did have an after show or an after party to get to,
Okay,
and that's
all right.
that's
So,
where
okay.
Rhodey was trying to get to.
Okay.
Ostensibly, I won't go so far as to say that it was the worst production, but definitely mistakes were made, especially when they were not streaming like the lower brackets, the losers brackets, where the shit like really mattered
yeah.
to players. That there was a lot of bummers. But good top 8 for sure.
And Seth's the lady now.
What's that?
Seth.
Oh yeah.
Seth's the lady now.
Yep.
Oh right, yeah,
Yeah.
and
Cool.
and Gil is in the game as of yesterday.
Yeah.
Yep.
So is that 40 characters, or does that mean
That's it.
Seth is the 40th character. I think we joked about that.
I think we literally made that joke.
It's like, now who's next? So Seth.
It's Seth.
Yeah. Obviously.
Sure, why not? I also received another email here. I'm going to read this email in the middle of reading this other email. Matt wrote in and said, possible evidence of Street Fighter 6 in 2021? And attached a screenshot to a tweet from someone representing a team called UYU named Chelsea, saying the Capcom Cup 2020 champion will not be auto-qualified for Capcom Cup 2021. This confirms that there will be a Capcom Pro Tour in 2021 and also possibly hints that Street Fighter 6 will come out in 2021. Kazunoko did not auto-qualify for Capcom Cup 2016 despite winning in 2015 for Ultra Street Fighter 4. So kind of using some of the past stuff there. I think that's a bit of a reach.
I think it's more likely that there's not going to be a Capcom Cup next year.
There you go. So this comes from, I believe, the Capcom Pro Tour website, and the relevant thing here just says, the reigning Capcom Cup 2019 champion will once again have an auto-qualifying spot. However, the winner of Capcom Cup 2020 won't be able to get auto-qualified to Capcom Cup 2021.
I see what they're saying. Yeah, they just haven't planned out that far. I guess.
I think that I don't think
They
that
want to keep the door open legally.
Yeah, exactly. I don't think the use of the term Capcom Cup 2021 in what they've written here guarantees that they'll do it.
Yeah.
Or guarantees that there will be another fighting game that year or anything. But yeah, it seems like they are saying the bare minimum to allow, to keep doors open, because who knows what's going to happen by then.
Yeah, and that could definitely change.
And again, and also, I would also probably rope into this if you take the production quality of this year's Capcom Cup as an indicator. This makes it sound like, that sounds like a budget got cut somewhere. That makes it sound like, hey, we scaled way back because we're wrapping this up.
Potentially, yeah.
This game's getting wrapped up, and our esports efforts around it naturally would wrap up as well.
And this is a problem that you run into when you get the publisher of the game so directly integrally evolved. Like when it's grassroots, when it's people who really care about the game, you can you don't have to worry about somebody in an office somewhere else deciding that the budget isn't gonna, there's a case to be made to having Capcom support events like this. I think that's great. But when they take over streaming rights and suddenly now they don't care as much, this is speculation, but let's say they don't care as much about the competitive scene, that's just fucked over.
I think it's probably pretty safe to say that there are probably significant elements in Capcom that don't care about that game or the money it is not bringing in at all anymore. And we kind of speculated with the announcement of Champion Edition and the way they're framing it and saying 40 characters and they've already got them all announced and all that stuff, that maybe this is it. Maybe this is
maybe a costume pack or something.
Right.
But
maybe this is the send-off version of Street Fighter 5. Here you go. This is the last big pack. Get all the costumes, get all this stuff. See you later. And I feel like for the run that game has had,
it's been a long time.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
That game came out while I was on my honeymoon, which is ridiculous to think about how long slash not
now you
long.
have a child.
Yeah, exactly. So it's time for Capcom to have another child and move on from Street Fighter V.
I hope there is a Street Fighter 6. I hope that Street Fighter's not dead.
Eventually there will be a Street Fighter 6. I hope there's not a Street Fighter 6 in 2021.
Oh, I mean, if they've been thinking about it for a while, like they could have had a team's workshopping ideas and stuff.
I don't want this team.
Oh yeah, no, I'm not saying this team. I'm saying like there could be somebody at Capcom who's just like, I know what to do with Street Fighter. I've been and he's just been getting the ball rolling a little bit.
But I don't know. Like you think about all of the Capcom announcements and what they've looked like, and how well Resident Evil has done for them. How Monster Hunter World has broken through in the West. We did talk about some of this stuff last. We talked about when Champion Edition got announced, I think.
Yes.
But if you look at where Capcom is at as a company, they don't need a fighting game.
Right. They got 3 remake coming out now.
Yeah.
Like they're
people
really
are
sticking
fucking
to those.
psyched about that thing. So like Capcom, I think, has been and always will be somewhat synonymous with fighting games because of what Street Fighter represents. But I really don't want them to go from Street Fighter V to Street Fighter 6. I want them to do something else in between. I want them to let that franchise breathe.
Yeah.
And come back when the time is right. I feel like if they rush right into Street Fighter 6, I don't think that they will have learned anything from this process, and I think they will just get right back on that train. Also, I would say if they were planning on having another fighting game out that soon and planning on keeping this train rolling, this Capcom Cup probably wouldn't look like it was filmed in someone's basement.
Yeah, I think you're right.
They would be like, okay, we can easily justify the continued investment in Capcom Cup streaming and all this other stuff and make sure that we get all this stuff right and make sure the venue is right and make sure all the stuff is right because we're going to be doing it for some time to come. This looks like, hey, well, this is how much money we could get out of them.
We said we were going to do this.
Yeah, we said we were going to do this. We're on the hook for it. We still have people employed at our company in an esports capacity.
Yeah.
Remember when they used to give away a car?
Oh yeah, they did that at the
2
first
years in a row.
Yeah.
So we'll see. I mean, I think that anything could happen, but I don't see them rolling right into Street Fighter 6. But also, I really don't think they should. I really think that would be a mistake.
I think they're on the hook for another Capcom Cup for sure. But other than that, I don't know where I see this going.
Yeah, but like, what does on the hook mean in that capacity? Like to sponsors, to like what's the business arrangement that if they said tomorrow, like, no, we're not doing it. Like, other than the community going, hey, wait, does anyone actually care? Like in a business sense, does anyone go like, hey, you owe us money because you said you were going to do this?
Right.
Like, what's stopping them as a business from just ending it?
Well, I feel like, you think about they knew this championship edition was coming, and they're thinking like these tournaments are great marketing for those sorts of things.
Yeah.
So you could like theorize that they would lose potential sales, and somebody might get mad about that. But like,
when would a new, because a Capcom Cup is not just this one event, right? Like it's a year.
Well, they have qualifiers for a year long.
Yeah, and they've announced as
Okay,
such.
so they've already now. Okay, there you go.
Right.
All right. So the Pro Tour will continue on in some capacity.
And they've announced which venues
Okay.
are going to be, not pit stops, but the ones that count towards Capcom Cup
Right.
2020.
Yeah.
Did you go to that one when it was here in the city at that theater?
Yeah, during the PlayStation experience.
No, there was. It was after that. There was right on Market Street.
Oh yeah, I went to that one.
That was really cool.
Yeah, that was a nice little homey event.
Yeah.
It was a smaller venue actually. I think
It was really small.
than this one for sure.
But like, it shows you can do something good there if you have the time and the dedication and the budget.
It wasn't the greatest show, to be honest. Like it was
Really?
a nice homey venue, but they just had a DJ there for the most part.
Yeah.
That was the entertainment, as it were. It was not a Pocky spectacular.
I would take that over a Pocky Spectacular.
But that's all that it was. They kept it very, very
Were the
simple.
rules of the game during the Pocky thing different at all?
Yes.
So like you had to eat Pocky while you play? Like
No. Kenny Omega did, but he tried to make it as fun as possible. No, you have to have your life bar down to a certain amount. and your opponent has to be as well.
Okay.
That's when you get into Pocky Chance. And then you have to kill them while you're in Pocky Chance in order to score a Pocky point.
Okay.
And then the most Pocky points scored within 10 minutes won the Pocky Challenge. But then Kenny Omega is going to come out and challenge you.
Okay.
For the World Pocky
Was this something
Championship.
where did they make changes to the video game itself
They
to enable
actually
that?
made the life bars,
Pockies?
Pockies.
Okay.
and
But like in
then-
terms of the rule changes, is this something that you and I could go play right now?
No.
They didn't patch it into the game. It
No.
wasn't like, okay.
No, it was something that was at the venue.
Yeah.
but
Okay. I just wasn't sure if, because I'm trying to.
we cannot download the Street Fighter 5
Yeah,
Pocky
I'm
build.
trying to tease out, like, did they do the work to do a custom build of the game for this sponsor?
They totally did.
Okay.
But it's not consumer facing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting. Okay, so they're
No.
still working with, well, whatever. They got
Yeah, I
Champion
know.
Edition coming out, so they're obviously
There
still
was a
working
lo-
with the code base.
There was a lot of black tape covering logos at this event. Like the chairs they had,
Oh,
logos covered up.
yeah.
The Windows Surface.
Look, you got that
things.
Pocky money. Pocky
Yeah.
wants exclusive rights.
But
They're
Red
not
Bull and
here
Pocky
to-
was in full effect. Man, they were
that was
building
not-
shrines to the Pocky
Look, I like Pocky.
on the table.
and I like Red Bull, but that's not something I would want together. Anyway, back to our email here about MK11 crossplay. Will that be the first of many mainline fighting games to do this? Who will be next? Is this the slow start for crossplay for popular titles to be the standard?
It's a slow start, and I think it will be the standard.
Yeah. I don't think there's any going back from this. I think
Right.
that'd be. Imagine if these new consoles come out and we're back to square one on that, and
Right.
someone's like digging in their heels and
Like those doors are open now.
Yeah.
You know,
You
there's
guys really
no
think,
reason
like-
to not do that.
Like an Arxis will care enough about this because their online is already jacked.
well, is Arxis putting a game out on Xbox anyway?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Because I sometimes a lot of Japanese developers will just
go-
do PC and
Oh, right.
PlayStation,
Right.
and Switch or something. But like they'll leave the Xbox out. Yeah, I don't know.
I hope it'll be the standard, but I don't know. Just something. Because, I mean, okay, who are the major players in the fighting game space right now? You got
Tekken.
Tekken,
I guess.
Smash, Guilty Gear / anime.
Are we gonna have Smash on PlayStation or Xbox?
Well, no. I mean,
Okay.
I'm just trying to work through
Okay.
the ones that I know. And
Yeah, anime fighters.
Yeah, and
Mhm.
if we're saying Capcom's like taking a break.
But Capcom
I
did
don't-
do crossplay with PC. Like, if anything,
Yeah.
they've already built the infrastructure and like the account creation and all that
True.
other stuff that you would have to build to make it work. Like, I assume at some point with Mortal Kombat, you're gonna have to use your Warner Brothers ID or
Yeah.
whatever the hell it is
Yeah.
to make that stuff work.
Mm-hmm.
Like how Bethesda does it.
Yeah, or how Activision does it with Call of Duty
Right.
or whatever.
Just right though. There are a lot of franchises that are just sticking to PS4 and PC.
PC.
I think, I wonder, from an esports capacity, I mean, it would take a full rotation of games, a full like generational rotation of games for this to be a reality. Do you ever see a version of the future where people are running tournaments and they've just got a ton of Xboxes? I feel like it's never,
Not yet.
yeah,
Not
like
this generation.
well, certainly not this
Yeah.
generation. But for that to happen, it has to be the dominant platform in Japan as well.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
So
Well.
that's
Yeah.
a tall.
There's definitely more tournaments being run over here than over in Japan.
Yeah.
I
I mean, it was kind of a non-factor this time out because Street Fighter wasn't even on Xbox and a lot of games weren't. And,
Yeah.
Right.
they didn't do they did. There are some Xbox fight sticks out there. They put some out with Killer Instinct.
Sure.
So like there were from the get-go.
They exist, and
but-
so do adapters and stuff.
Yeah,
but
but yeah, I feel like as soon as Killer Instinct fell off or whatever, when they stopped updating it, or maybe even slightly before that, like you probably didn't see a single Xbox at Evo.
No.
No.
360 was probably the last
Sure.
of it.
Yeah, like people playing HD Remix or whatever.
Mhm.
Yeah. Well, whatever. I'm sure some people play Killer Instinct at Evo somewhere. But,
Oh, yeah.
But not in a major capacity.
Not in
is
public.
what I mean.
Not in
not in
public.
public. That is the saltiest of sweets. Some closed door.
that game's great. I'm not trying to give it shit.
I played some of it recently with the xCloud stuff. Like it was on the list. I was like, yeah, fuck yeah, I'll play some Killer Instincts. It was a fun game. Let's see. Josh in Minneapolis says, I went to my hometown mall recently. While it was bizarre to see the current state of malls in 2019, the strangest thing I saw was on the shelf in the holiday section of a department store. I was looking over the retro gaming section, which was filled with miniature Atari and arcade systems. Then I saw it, a new copy of Guitar Hero Live for the Xbox 360.
Whoa!
At first, I found it funny that the 360 is considered a retro console. Then I was struck by the vague memory that Activision had turned off the servers for this online-only title. Some later searching revealed that the game's online was turned off in 2018 and that refunds are not even available to anyone who purchased the game after January 1st of 2019. I can't help but worry that some poor soul will open this present this holiday season and have no way to play with it, especially since that controller can't even be used to play old Guitar Hero games. Is this a grim glimpse of our gaming futures, our dead games and useless peripherals, the inevitable outcome of our always-on gaming culture?
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that you can play the campaign of Guitar Hero
Oh, great.
live, which...
Oh, good. Christmas is saved.
Yeah. So I think there will be something you can do with that guitar and that game, but it was the
Throw it
guitar.
out.
It was that campaign that was all that FMV first person mode stuff. Remember
Okay.
that shit?
Kind
It
of.
was ridiculous.
Oh, yeah.
Where, like, it would
they kept
transition-
looking to you.
Yeah, they
as-
would look at you because it was first person.
Yeah.
You were the guitar player on stage, and if you rockin' cool, they're like fucking throwing the horns up, and if you rockin' not cool,
Come
then
on, man,
this
get
would-
your
you
shit
go like,
together.
what are you doing, man? Like, just people in the crowd duplicated a million times all the way back. It was a neat idea, an FMV rhythm game. It's neat.
Mm-hmm.
And then they had Guitar Hero TV, which was the always-on online component of the game that was like a stream of music videos that would play, and you could play Guitar Hero along to them. And if you wanted to buy those videos as DLC, you could, but they would still stream. So I think those purchases died. That whole half of the game, which was the actual interesting half of the game, that is all gone. But I'm pretty sure you could probably, I'm guessing you could still play that
Let's hope
FMV
so.
campaign thing.
Yeah, I would not want that to be lost in the wind.
Yeah.
But goddamn our grim future.
Right. Rob in Nashville, speaking of our grim future, Kid Rock is a grand marshal for
like
the
a
Leapers
parade.
Fork, Tennessee Christmas parade. I don't want to go, but I feel like I should and report back as it is only 20 minutes from my house.
Does the
Please
Grand
advise.
So what does the Grand Marshal do? Is he the guy that's out front?
I feel like he's the guy at the front holding a pole of some kind.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
Waving it around.
going like this and going, ba
keeps
with the
tempo.
ba, da ba. Yeah.
Yeah, keeping
this-
the crowd going.
Yeah. He's like holding that pole in his crotch area like it was his dick.
Yeah.
And shouting, "My name is Kid," and so on.
Yeah.
Do you think that Rob should go to this parade to see Kid Rock be a grand marshal of a Christmas parade?
100%.
Spend
Please.
time with your family.
Please
instead.
take pictures. Send them in.
Take the
Take
whole
the whole
family.
family.
Exactly. Take the
Oh
whole
yeah,
family,
that gets around it. Yeah.
I don't know that I can advise Rob I don't know that I can feel good about telling him to go to this thing.
I can in good conscience.
But I would
absolutely go.
if Rob, if you decide to go, we would be interested in hearing about it.
Yes.
Please record it.
Please, yes, please record it. Please try to
Get an
Hop
interview.
the fence.
please try to get an interview with Kid Rock.
Run up, Mr. Rock.
Mr. Rock, could you say, "Hey, my name is Kid Rock, and you're watching Giant Bomb"?
Listening to the Giant Bombcast.
If you can get Kid Rock to do a drop for us, and
Drop
get him
with the
to
drop.
say, and get him to say what he thinks about authority, and ask him if it's changed. He seems pretty pro authority to me. I don't know.
Didn't he run for office?
Yeah,
He's a Grand Marshal now.
yeah, he's Grand Marshal. You think they just give that to anybody?
That's higher than any office you could run for.
That's
Exactly.
true.
Zach in Columbus, Ohio writes in with our last email. I had a hedgehog for a short bit and learned that they do this thing called anointing,
Yeah, buddy.
where they puke on their quills in various places to provide either scent camouflage or irritants to deter predators. Do you think Sonic does this, and will we get to see it in the movie?
I'm sure he smells of chili dogs.
Well, if he's puking, I mean, if you
Yeah.
figure Sonic is eating chili dogs on a really regular basis, anytime he pukes, it's gonna be at least a little bit of chili dog in there.
Yeah, exactly.
So, are you looking this up on your phone?
Sort of. I'm a hedgehog enthusiast.
Yes, I'm well aware.
I've wanted a pet hedgehog for a while now. They're illegal here. Something disturbing.
Because they puke all over the place.
No, it's like you can't have a ferret in
invasive
California.
species.
It's like there's
Oh yeah, ferrets.
the nanny state.
So if you're familiar,
If only Kid Rock was here.
we need some sort of marshal to save us.
Hey, Hedgehog Authority, and then just double birds. That's what you would.
If you're familiar with hedgehogs, they have like some male ones. Make it graphic for a second. The hedgehog dick looks like a little bump, almost like an Audi belly button,
Got
kind
it.
of on
Okay.
the bottom of a hedgehog. Sonic doesn't have that
Okay.
necessarily. If you look up Sonic, he's got a pretty smooth, normal stomach. So something, I don't know what it is about him, but something's starting to make me think that he's not actually a hedgehog.
Whoa.
And that he only calls himself Sonic the Hedgehog to kind of disguise whatever else he's got going on. Because
Well,
he
yeah,
never anoints.
He's a space alien. He comes from
yeah,
a
he's,
different
he's
planet.
from,
Mobius.
he's from Planet Mobius.
Is that true?
Yes.
Yeah.
Why do all three of you know that?
I read the comic books.
I
Okay,
have.
Jan has a terrible excuse.
It's been my job to know bad things about bad video games.
That's a good
for
excuse.
Most of my life.
I was just agreeing with those guys.
I think it's in the manual to Sonic the Hedgehog 1. I believe the
That he's
the
in-
Planet Mobius stuff is like early.
Well, no, they said
That's
that
like
in
establishing
the movie
lore.
trailer that he was
He's an
came
alien?
from a different planet. Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
I don't remember.
So he
Really?
just I think he just probably scans to Earthlings as hedgehog-like, and they just go, "Yeah, you're Sonic the Hedgehog,
The
whatever.
hedgehog, yeah.
you're like a hedgehog."
Are they all from Mobius?
Is Big
Yeah,
the cat from
Knuckles.
Mobius? Is that what
Yeah.
you're saying? I
Yeah.
don't know.
Yeah.
They all are.
Shadow?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, of course, Shadow.
Yeah.
He's also a hedgehog.
Well, I mean,
He's the same thing as Sonic is.
He knows how
also
to
an
handle an
enthusiast.
American gun and a motorcycle, so I figured he...
Some things translate over,
No,
Okay.
that's when we shot
Did you say an American
I
gun?
did. I meant to say Earth gun, but Freudian slip, I guess.
Yeah, it still works. No, when we put the weird encoded messages onto the satellite that got shot into space, which the name I can't remember anymore.
Yeah, Elon Musk's Tesla, the place.
No, not the. God damn it! Yes, it was just instructions about how to use an American gun.
Do they have chili dogs on Mobius, or did he like discover the love of them here?
It's like elf and cats. I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's just like the first thing he saw. And
Yeah,
wanted to eat.
probably.
And like the gritty version of the comic, I don't think there are chili dogs.
Is there a gritty version of Sonic the Hedgehog, meaning Gritty the character? Like what
Like a
what kind of
Toongus?
animal is Gritty the Toongus?
Not that I remember.
Sonic the Hedgehog, Big the cat, Cream the whatever,
Rabbit.
Rabbit, Cream the rabbit,
Where's the bat?
and Gritty the Toongus.
Gritty. I don't remember there being a gritty in the gritty version of the comics.
Okay.
Unfortunately.
Gritty,
All right.
gritty.
Maybe chili dogs just taste like whatever his favorite food was on Mobius.
Oh, babies.
Yeah, exactly. He's
Babies
a
are the
menace.
most delicious.
He was driven from the planet.
Yeah.
in force because he was their worst criminal.
Yeah.
So why is Knuckles okay? Whatever. I guess there are multiple species on this planet. Why
Yes.
wouldn't Planet Mobius have an echidna? Is Knuckles really an echidna? That's the real
No.
question.
Yeah. What do echidnas do?
Echidnas don't look like Knuckles though.
Yeah, they don't.
Echidnas look
Not,
like-
not even a little bit. Like it's
anteaters.
Yeah.
I mean, I hate to say it, but Sonic doesn't really look like a hedgehog either.
You took
He
that
doesn't
back.
have any spikes.
Tails looks like a fox.
Tails looks like a fox.
Is Tails from Planet Mobius or is
Yeah,
Tails?
they're all
okay.
It's all the same.
But he knows how to
thing.
fly an American airplane.
And he's just a fox, but he just has two tails. That's like like a weird multiverse thing.
Yeah.
Of just like it's exactly
Yeah.
the same as our universe, but the foxes have two tails.
Is Eggman from Mobius?
I want to say Eggman is
He's
from
shaped
Mobius.
like a Mobius.
So there are humans there too.
I think
Eggman's
it's
not
just-
human.
it-
Look at him.
Look at
What?
He's bipedal.
He's played by Jim Carrey.
He's humanoid. Jim Carrey is also not human.
Okay. Yes.
That's why he didn't need to be vaccinated. He's automatically immune to our human diseases.
So the
I don't understand why everyone just doesn't do this.
Yeah, exactly. I guess they have hip hop on other worlds, or,
I mean,
or do you
hip-hop
think?
is
Do you think?
universal.
Yeah. Do you think Knuckles learned how to rap here on Earth, or
He brought that back to his.
did he learn that on Mobius about the emeralds?
Explorer style.
Is the Green Hill Zone on Earth or Mobius now? I'm just like, I've had my whole reality shattered. I don't know what's real anymore, knowing that Sonic's an alien.
Sonic didn't have a penis bump.
Because he's an alien. That's what's freaking me out here. I already knew about the penis bump. I put 2 and 2 together myself as a hedgehog enthusiast.
All right, I'm on a Sonic wiki.
No. No! It's the worst thing you've ever done on this podcast.
Okay, Mobius is the name of a fictional planet that appears in several spin-off media for Sonic the Hedgehog. Mobius is considered one of the common elements for early Sonic canon, adopted mostly in Western regions, with several Sonic TV shows, books, and comics taking place there. The original Sonic games for the Sega Mega Drive and later the Game Gear and Master System were also said to take place on Mobius. So the Green Hill Zone is on Mobius. The name Mobius was not used by the authors of the game's Japanese manuals. The earliest use of the word was in the later drafts of the Sonic Bible, which referred to Mobius as Sonic's home planet.
It's in every hotel room.
Yeah, it's where I keep my money when I'm at staying at a hotel. It was later used in the Sonic the Hedgehog promotional comic and guidebook Stay Sonic.
We've all got that, I'm sure.
So there are, okay, so just to clarify then, on this planet Mobius, Counselor, there are Sonics, like humanoid animals.
Anthropomorphic animals.
But there are also regular animals.
Yes.
Because Eggman is like
those
stealing
get
them.
turned into robots.
Yeah. So is Sonic just like the fully most evolved creature on the planet? Or do they exist peacefully amongst each other?
I want to say it's like a Disney cartoon situation where there are animals that talk and then animals that are just animals.
Okay.
Yeah.
So like Sonic's a funny animal.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a goofy.
He's a goofy.
He's a goofy. And the animals are just Plutos.
Yeah.
There's
Now you're putting it in terms I can understand.
also, there are alternate versions of Mobius that exist. There's Moabius,
Oh no.
also known as Anti-Mobius or Mobius number 372. It's a location that appears in the comic series and
That's
its
where I wanna
spin-offs
go.
published by Archie Comics. It's the anti-verse equivalent to Planet Mobius. It's the home of the Suppression Squad,
Jeff,
including
I don't-
Scourge the Hedgehog.
I don't have any room for this.
There was a Sonic cartoon where Sonic was part of a royal family and he found his brother and sister and they had a band.
Cool.
That sounds all right.
Remember that.
I'm trying to just find like a better, longer description of just the original Planet Mobius because there's a disambiguation page on this Sonic wiki for Mobius to talk about the different versions of it from the television series, the different television series, the Archie comics, including Sonic's World, the version of Mobius after the Super Genesis wave.
Oh, I forgot about the Super G. I call it the Super G.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
But then there's also just Planet Mobius specifically from Sonic the Hedgehog Spinball. Planet Mobius is the main setting of the storyline for both versions of Sonic Spinball. It is the planet where Dr. Robotnik enacted his scheme to turn the world's fauna into robots, but was stopped by Sonic, as opposed to every other
Sonic game.
It's never explained if Planet Mobius is supposed to be the usual world where the rest of the games in the Sonic series take place, or if the characters somehow traveled there.
I just forgot what my grandpa sounded like because of all this new information. It pushed that out.
Earth. On the Sonic Wiki. Earth is also referred to as Sonic's World. It's the main planet and the overall setting for the Sonic series. The planet was originally unnamed except in other media, in which most early continuities instead took place on the fictional planet Mobius. With few exceptions, the planet's name in the games was never mentioned, however. Games were generally assumed to take place on a fictional Earth, with some locations based on real-world places. In keeping with the original Japanese script, it was called Earth in Sonic Adventure 2, marking the first use of the name in a game's English localization. Since then, it has been reused in many scripts. So it's a case where, like, Mobius was seems like it was just created by the localizers when Sonic came to the U.S., and was not necessarily intended by the original Japanese developers.
But it's become its own, important part of Sonic's lore and
I guess
all of
so.
our lore.
But also, keep in mind that they rolled a lot of the U.S. stuff back. Like, he's not Dr. Robotnik, he's Eggman.
Right.
So if you're retconning all of that stuff back to the Japanese original, did you retcon out original Mobius along with it? So now it only exists in all these Archie comics and all this other shit.
Does this mean we're a couple years away from getting a CW sexy reboot of
Oh
Sonic
yeah, Sonic fucks now.
in
Yeah.
like the Riverdale
It's
universe?
called
does have
Sonic
that
Fucks
belly
now,
button.
and one episode a season is a horrible, horrible musical.
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah.
Every
The
other
other
week.
Sprouse twin will be in this one.
Yeah, he's playing
Tails.
Who's the crocodile? Edge.
Crocky.
Nope. Now we got. I'm not going to let this.
I think he showed up in the hoverboard games.
Yeah.
He was in the Sonic Heroes.
Okay,
as
yeah.
Vector the crocodile.
Yeah.
I want to say Vector the crocodile is also in Sonic the Fighters.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
Okay.
That sounds familiar.
One of the greatest fighting games
One
ever
of the
made.
worst fighting games ever.
Can they
made.
show Hedgehog nubs on the CW?
I think like you could get a peek of the nub, just like
Okay.
cut it off, like right, just so it's like.
What did they do on
cleavage.
NYPD Blue? What did Dennis Franz get to show?
don't know.
It was just his
I
ass,
think
right?
it was just his whole damn ass.
just his hanging.
His whole damn
big
40-year-old
old-
ass.
Yes. 40 ass.
40 asses to freedom.
Yes. That's going to do it for this episode of the Giant Bombcast. Woo. Please continue to listen to
Please
this
listen next
show. So this is our last week in the office for the year. Next week,
Says you.
Game of the Year will start on Monday, the 23rd. And we will have podcasts and more
A whole lot of podcasts.
going up every day next week as we talk about the year that was and dole out a select number of awards. And we've got some additional fun planned along the way there.
A little bit.
And I'm pretty excited about the one thing.
Oh,
feel
yeah.
pretty good about that thing. So that stuff will all kick off Monday morning. So next week that will be your Giant Bombcast for the week. Will be day 2 of our Game of the Year festivities, and then the 31st we are going to record the show for we're going to record the show for the 31st before the show for the 24th has aired because of how the schedule has worked this year. It's a weird holiday schedule this year. Feels broken.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're going to have a show for you on the 31st that we'll be recording this week. So get your voicemails in
ASAP.
because we're gonna take some voicemails, I think.
Gotta load up
for
the
that
dump
show.
truck.
Yeah, we're going to get the dump truck going. So that's,
Maybe like we'll hear a dump truck remix.
oh, maybe 707 exit flu is the number you would dial on a telephone to leave a voicemail.
I get to sit next to Jan again.
Yeah.
I might be where Ben's sitting.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Shit.
I'm gonna be over there,
And we'll also take some
hitting my
emails
knees.
on that show. So if you want to get on that 31st show, tell us about the year that was. Tell us what you thought about December 31st or 2019. How about instead of not just December 31st? But you need to get those emails in. Today's Tuesday, the 17th. We're recording that on the 18th. So if you didn't listen to the show live and or listen to it the day it came out, you may have already missed your chance to be on the last Bombcast of the year.
Hey, but you did this to yourself.
That's right. That's how dare you have a schedule.
How dare you not listen to all 3 hours within 24?
Yes, precisely. So thanks everyone for listening this week. We've got a couple of streams we'll do this week. We're going to knock out the rest of our Game of the Year stuff as well. So we're shooting some behind the scenes business this year that you'll see next week. And I have to finish writing my top 10 and all this other stuff. And we're going to go get to it. But we'll be back with the after show. If you're here live right now, after show coming at you. So stay tuned for that. And if you're not watching live, go sign up for the Giant Bombcast Aftermath on whatever podcast service you use. It's on Spotify.
It's on Spotify now.
It's on Spotify now. I think that's that's every podcast slogan
Right.
for 2019 is, it's on Spotify now.
Yeah.
So check it out wherever podcasts are sold. Or, well, if you paid money for the Aftermath, you fucked up. It's not being sold. It's free. Go subscribe. See you then. Bye. A DUI covers more than just alcohol. Drugs that make you feel different will make you drive different, and you could get a DUI. Always remember, if you feel different, you drive different. Never drive high. Drive high? Get a DUI.